Misfit Toys.
Remember when your living room was just a living room? Or when your guest room wasn't also an office and a yoga studio? We've asked a lot of our homes lately, so give your home a vacation and book a vacation home with Vrbo. Vrbo has millions of private homes to choose from, so whether you're looking for a beach house that's just a beach house, or a cabin that's just a cabin, we've got you covered. Download the Vrbo app and find the perfect vacation home that's just a vacation home. This episode is brought to you by Progressive, where drivers who switch and save over $700 on average. Quote now at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary.
Aptitude, expertise, genius, gift.
I'm the fucking talent.
Hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast? What, me? Who? Here I am. Look, and it's shocking, quite frankly, that I still know how to use a microphone. Can you believe it? I've been sitting here, I've been staring at it, I've been trying to use it. I just remembered I unlocked the secret. Oh, you're talking to this end. See, I've been talking into the other end the whole time. No show has come out that's been worth putting up. So I thought to myself, well, I'll get the hang of this eventually. And then you know how time gets away from you. It's ridiculous, correct? I just stare at the microphone like a monkey with an egg beater. It's fucking ridiculous, quite frankly. I like that, monkey with an egg beater. That should be the name of the show. You can't name the show after what's happened in the first 30 seconds. Although, what if I ended the show now? You know what? You guys can get me at. What if I did that? What if I just locked it down? You know what? Baby steps. Let's do a 45-second show. Build up to a 1.5-minute show, get to a 5-minute show. It's like when I started this podcast 8 billion years ago. The first show is 20 minutes, 22 minutes, I believe. And then I did a 47-minute show like 4 weeks later, and I thought, my God, I've got to rein this in. I've got to go ahead and grab the reins. Now, the last show I did, you might not be aware of this, I did a show on Christmas Day, ladies and gentlemen. That was 4.5 hours, just over 4.5 hours. And that's long. That's really long. That's fucking, you know what that is? That's longer than Suicide Squad. And I'm talking about the Snyder Cut. Not even actually, this is Justice League. Didn't he do Justice League? He didn't even do the Suicide Squad. It might be longer than both Suicide Squads put together now that I think about it. Go Google it. I'm not even kidding. Holy fuck, that's a sad thing. I tried to make a Snyder reference, and I'm actually right. It's actually longer than that's longer than both Godfathers. I think. See, who thinks they should be talking for that long? Who could possibly listen for that long? But I was pleasantly surprised because I put that show out, and then a friend of mine, who I won't name, who was very close to me, wrote me and said, I can't believe you can do this. I can't believe you can be entertaining or interesting for this length of time. And I was very touched by that. And so what I decided to do then was not do a show for a month. That's what I did. I said, I'm going to hide under the coats, which are on top of the bed. I'm going to hide in a hole in a boat, in a goat with a moat, in the hole in the bottom of the sea, and never put out a podcast again. Or I'll rally. That's what I'll do. I'll wait. Because look, traditionally, as you know, we always skip January. That made me laugh. Traditionally, as you know, at this show, quite frankly, if there's one thing you can rely on for this show, we always skip January. It's our normal hiatus. We figure out what we get Christmas and New Year's out of the way, and then we just go ahead and lock it down for January. We refresh ourselves. We recharge our batteries. We do something else with the word letters R-E in it, and we make sure everything is fine. We reconnoiter back, and we listen to the old shows from last year. We study, we try to improve, and then we come back out strong on February 1st and go, hey, everybody, this is me now. I took a month off to go ahead and jog. That's what I did. I went out and jogged. I ran around the neighborhood and thought to myself, I could be talking into a microphone. What's a microphone? Oh, it's an egg beater. I'm a monkey with an egg beater, ladies and gentlemen. I've become hooked on that's a crutch now, ladies and gentlemen. I've been saying it a lot when I do Twitch broadcasts, and I know you're like, wait a minute, you haven't put out a fucking podcast in a month, and you're still doing Twitch broadcasts? Yes, and I you know what? I lay this in your lap. My mouth is dry. Hold on. I lay this right in your lap, ladies and gentlemen, because you can be out there and be like, dude, like, where's your podcast? What the fuck, man? But I tell you this, I've been on Twitch every day. Well, not every day, but Monday through Friday. And for at least 2 hours a day. You could find me on there and hear some genius stuff. I don't know about genius stuff. And actually, this month we've started playing fucking Red Dead Redemption again. So it's not like I'm talking too much. In the old days, oh my goodness, I would talk for an hour, hour and a half, and then go, hey, maybe let's play a game. But now we buckled down and we've gone back into horse opera because there are people out there who want to see me shoot a traveler. They want to see me rob a stagecoach. You know, in all the years you've listened to this podcast, don't deny it. You've been waiting for the day I rob a stagecoach, haven't you? Well, I'm doing it every day on Twitch, for fuck's sake. And now, by the way, I plug that, and I won't be on Twitch for the next week. So I tell you about it. So you mark it down. Next time I'm on Twitch, it's going to be February 8th. Go ahead and check me out on February 8th on Twitch. I'm doing the plugs early. I should do, you know what? All right, I got to do a lot of fucking stuff early because I have been gone for a while. And all right, first of all, as I said, we traditionally skip January. We're here now for February 1st. And as always, our February shows are a tribute to Black History Month. So let's talk about George Washington Carver and peanut butter, right? Because that's the only thing white people know about Black History Month. Black people, you ask white people, they're like, well, I think that guy invented peanut butter, right? And then there was something to do with a fire hose in the 60s. That was something we don't want to talk about in February. And then Michael Jordan came along. The end. That's pretty much Black History Month for all white dudes. But then you find some people who are just like, oh, but you don't realize there was a black guy who invented the clock. I'm like, what? I didn't know that happened. And I guess that's fine. I mean, anybody who's going and rallying, being like, you didn't know that a black guy invented forks, did you? And I'm like, no, I had no fucking idea. That's pretty cool. Yeah, well, you should really fucking talk about that kind of stuff. Why? Who cares? There's forks. Yay! So let's give credit to the fork guy from a million years ago. No, why stop going into the past. The past is prologue, certainly, but the past is not anything we need to explore. Stop digging up the past. Don't bring me. It's because that happens, dude. Again, as I've mentioned before, we are eating ourselves. Everybody goes out and finds some ridiculous thing that somebody said in the old days. And look, I don't say this just as a guy who said a lot of ridiculous things in the old days. I am waiting for that shit to be unearthed. I just saw a slam cut of something that freaked me the fuck out. And I'm like, oh, gee, you can make anybody look stupid by doing this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's not get into that because I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about our lives, man. Let's talk about what you guys are doing. You know what? I'm going to give you the floor. We're a few minutes into this now. Why don't you catch me up on what you got going on? It's fucking January. Well, it's not January anymore. It's actually February 1st when you'll be hearing this. But it's still January here. I'm clinging to January life here at my house. That's a lie. I just lied to you on a podcast. It's 4:42 a.m. on Tuesday morning, February 1st. And I'm on a plane in a couple of hours because I'm going to Chicago. And I'm going to say this right now. Why did I lie to you about what day it was? That's weird. Why? That's like weird sociopath stuff to lie about small stuff. Why the fuck would I lie? But then again, I could tell you I recorded this because this is totally true. I have a chunk of the show that I recorded on January 6th that like for 32 minutes, and then I just went, and then I saved it because I was like, well, don't fucking scrap it. Because God knows when they go through my archives after I die, they're going to want to go ahead and say, oh, well, look at this. Here's an unearthed nugget from Mike of 32 minutes. Will they put it on Patreon? Maybe. I don't know. I got another thing, too, I was going to put on Patreon. It's like an hour of me talking, essentially, not really talking politics the whole fucking time, but it's stop-start for an hour on Twitch. And that's another thing, I talk about it on Twitch, and then I go to talk about it in here, and I'm like, wait, did I already talk about this? My brain is all fucked. I need a handler. I need a team. I need all of these things, quite frankly, because I need somebody. I want somebody to love somebody. That's what I'll tell you right now. I just need somebody to fucking grab me by the lapels. And here's the thing. I'm going to do this because I have to, all right? Because we're calling this is a reboot. This is a reset. This is me back and talking, even though there won't be a show this Thursday. The show's coming out on Tuesday, so this is this week's show. I won't be back until next Tuesday, and then we'll be back on a schedule next week. See, this is the thing. This is the talk is cheap part of the show, where I tell you things I'm going to do, and then I don't do them. And then I hate myself and I go into a spiral and then I hide and then I get mad at myself and I know you're mad at me, even though you're not. And people have been very kind. People have reached out and they're very gentle about it. They're very nice and they're I don't know if they're worried they're going to make me mad or if they're worried that I'm going to jump off a fucking bridge. I don't know, because and at this point, who knows? It's a coin flip. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Quite frankly, I might, maybe I just, you know what? Maybe I just go the full package. Maybe I get so mad I jump off a bridge. Who knows? I've had to text people and tell them, look, I'm not harming myself. Please don't, there's no hurt going on. I mean, I'm angry at myself. Certainly I'm mentally murdering myself every goddamn day, but that's never going to manifest itself because, I love myself too much. I can't hurt myself or put myself on a shelf. Well, I mean, I can put myself on a shelf as I've done for the past month. Certainly, we've ignored any and all sort of call from people to go ahead and do a show. And people have been, again, very nice, very kind. I'm going to make a public apology here right now. And it's silly to do because, again, talk is cheap and words and you guys are mad. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, just so you kind of understand. By the way, if you're new to the show's not like this all the time. It's like this, where I'm fucking scatterbrained, but it's not this thing where I'm constantly apologizing and then rehashing stuff. Although recently it seems like it has been, because every time I don't do a show for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I have to give this little disclaimer again. It feels like the kind of disclaimer you get before television shows where like parental discretion is advised. Before every time, even though you watch the show every week, they still give you that thing and you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, we get it. Parental discretion is advised. Well, my parents aren't here, so fuck that. Let me watch somebody get hit in the head with a hammer. I demand to see it. And this show is certainly no different. Although if I hit myself in the head with a hammer, it would be a less entertaining show, certainly. Although maybe, you know what, would that translate? If I just fucking beat myself in the head with a hammer? I'd probably pass the fuck out eventually, and then would I post it? It would just keep recording while I was out. Would you hear me drooling or snoring? How would you hear me drooling? That's got to be some high fucking velocity drool. Jesus fucking Christ. Can you imagine that? If you hear somebody drool, that's like alien shit when the alien opened its mouth and the drip and stuff fucking started. And Ripley's like, get over here, you bitch, whatever the fuck. Or no, actually, when we first saw it in Alien, it opened its mouth and it was like, and then the jaw comes out like, hey, and then it strikes, cha-cha. I don't think it did the cha-cha. Maybe it did. Was it the sound of a dance? Waltz. That's what the jaw from the alien does. It makes the noise of a dance. Cha-cha. And I will tell you this, according to Sam Cooke, everybody loves to cha-cha-cha. Was he singing about the alien? I don't know. Was he singing about the xenomorph? Who knows? I can't get to the head of one Sam Cooke covered in burning grits. Was he the guy covered in burning grits? I always mix them up. It could have been. Look, Curtis Mayfield had a stage fall on him. And Marvin Gaye got shot by his dad. And I think Sam Cooke had burning grits tossed on him. And there's, who else is there? Who am I thinking of? Bobby Womack? What happened to Bobby Womack? A bad thing? Bobby Womack he was a dude who like fucked everybody's girl and then he wound up in fucking arguments and I think somebody shot him in the leg. Somebody shot Bobby Womack in the leg. Somebody threw burning grits on Sam Cooke. Marvin Gaye's dad shot him. And, of course, Curtis Mayfield had a stage collapse on him. And this is something you don't know. This is completely true. You know who pushed that stage on the Curtis Mayfield? Marvin Gaye's father. You're goddamn right. This is a dude who did not like 70s soul. He didn't care for it. You know what? And that's the thing. You would think he would be a guy who would enjoy it. But he heard his son. He's like, nah, man, what's going on? You are ruining the family legacy by singing these songs. That's what's going on. And then he actually killed, who was the girl? I can't even remember her fucking name. Marvin Gaye's girl who they sang, Taylor? What the fuck? Damn it. This would have been a much cleaner bit if I would have pulled her name. Tyrod Taylor? Yeah, that's who it was. He actually killed the quarterback from the Houston Texans, Tyrod Taylor. Is he on the Texans now? I think he is. He took the place of our friend Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, all right, let's talk about Deshaun Watson for just a second. First of all, let's refresh your memory about the Chicago Bears. A couple of years ago, they had the number 3 pick in the draft. And they needed a quarterback, and there were quarterbacks coming out in the draft. There was a Deshaun Watson coming out in the draft. There was a Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you've ever heard of Patrick Mahomes. If you've never heard of Patrick Mahomes, turn on your TV and wait. It's going to be 5 minutes before you see his face in a commercial because he is relentlessly shoved down your throat. And I will tell you this, he's extremely good in those commercials. He's very funny in those commercials. He knows his way around light comedy. He certainly can sell you insurance if he wants to, and Head and Shoulders. I don't understand the Head and Shoulders connection, though. I don't understand dandruff shampoo that needs athletes. But I also have to say this. Getting Troy Polamalu in the commercial with his fucking amazing hair, it's a genius idea. But I would think like Wella Balsam or Yucca Do or some other fucking shampoo would go ahead and scoop these guys up. Because Head and Shoulders is less a shampoo and more a medicine, correct? It's like, because if you ever use Head and Shoulders, like when I was a kid I had to use it, don't ask. But Head and Shoulders is It's a thick blue viscous liquid. It's essentially, it's the consistency of blue Pepto-Bismol, and you're rubbing it into your head. You know how you get an upset stomach, you chug the pink fucking cement? Well, here you go. Head and Shoulders, you just rub blue cement into your fucking head, and eventually all the flakes decide to adhere themselves to their scalp because the Head and Shoulders just, here's how I picture Head and Shoulders. Because again, everybody's like, because it's medicine. Fuck it. It's not shampoo. This is why I say it's more medicine. Because if it was a shampoo, it would just clean your hair. But instead, it's a fucking medicine. So it bullies the fucking dandruff flakes into staying in their spot. It's like if, all right, here, your dandruff flakes were sheep. And they were running wild, and they were running off of your fields and your meadows and climbing down onto your shoulders, climbing down from the mountain. Let's look at this. Let's take a look at your head is the Matterhorn, and it's covered in sheep. All of your sheep are up there, and then your sheep are starting to book, and they're heading down to your shoulders, and everybody's like, oh, Jesus Christ, look at that. He descending into the valley off of the Matterhorn. These dandruff flake sheep are lurking, and we don't know what the fuck to do about it. And you know what you do? You go buy a motherfucking sheepdog. You go buy a border collie in a bottle. And that's what I'm calling fucking Head and Shoulders. You go ahead and pour this blue cement into your hand, and you rub it into your head, and it's just like glue. It just glues. It doesn't cure anything. It doesn't fix anything. All it's doing is it's sticking your sheep back down the Matterhorn. It's just keeping your dandruff flakes in place. It's not curing your dandruff. And by the way, what is dandruff? I mean, is it a psoriasis? Is it an eczema? It's terrible. Whatever it is, it's a terrible thing. But it is more common certainly than eczema, right? Eczema is like dandruff for your fucking chest. That's just gruesome. Or your face. What if you had a gruesome dandruff face? That sounds like a guy who fought Dick Tracy. Oh my God. Oh, Best Trueheart or Test Trueheart. I'm sorry, I can't get it back from the office because I don't know if you heard Flat Face and Dandruff Face are on the fucking roll, and they're taking out the city, and I have to do something about it because I'm Dick Tracy with a fucking radio on my wrist and a goddamn yellow trench coat and a jaw that could open a can. Jesus, you ever see Dick Tracy, the way he was drawn? His nose and his jaw. He looks like you could just jam that jaw into a tin of beans and open it up and fucking suck them down. I don't know why Dick Tracy wants to open a tin of beans. Why not? Maybe why not? But you think he could dine all over the cities. Dick Tracy could show up. He could go to fucking Blue Boy's fucking, what was Pacino? Fat Boy? I don't know what he was. It's a sad boy. I don't know. They're all something face and something boy. You know who's really rough? Boy Face. Oh my God, that's the worst Dick Tracy villain of all time besides Face Boy. Or Lifebuoy, which is a soap, right? Isn't Lifebuoy a soap? I think it is. Safeguard's a soap. I know that. What does that even mean? Now I'm just shouting soaps. Do you see what you've missed for a month? You're like, because everybody's like, they're like, Mike, man, you got to start doing podcasts again. And I'm name checking Safeguard soap, and you're like, you know what, Mike? Take another month. We'll see you in March. Why not? Go ahead, March 1st, bust it open up that eggbbeater of a microphone, and pull your monkey shenanigans out and tell us more about goddamn soap. Oh, dudes, I've got, this is no lie. I've got 4 different kinds of soap in my cabinet right now. I've got an Irish Spring Moisture Blast. This is very important that you know this. There's Irish Spring, and then there's Irish Spring Moisture Blast. And, it's totally slippery. Like I don't know what's in it. I don't know what kind of potato eating oil they've got in this fucking soap. I don't know what the Irish have done, but they've gone ahead and renovated this Irish Spring to add a moisture blast, a little slickness, and it slides all over your body. Very convenient. It's very nice. It turns you on a little bit. Get your nipples hard in the fucking shower. Your nipples are always hard in the shower anyway, because there's fucking water banging down on you. Yeah, you're just, who generally isn't sexually excited in the shower? You're naked. You're rubbing shit all over yourself. It's sliding. Fucking reach down, grab your cock, kind of a stranger, go left-handed. Why not? Although it's not a stranger. I will tell you this. Jerking off with your left hand now, the drawback of that is there is no more stranger appeal. Because, everybody's always like, ooh, I jerk off with my left hand for the stranger. I've been jerking off left-handed for years, and it's fucking sweet as hell. It's a great move. But it also takes the mystery out of jerk time. There was never mystery to jerk time. I guess it takes the option of mystery. Because a lot of people are like, I'm bored with my right hand. What I mean, I'm going to switch to a lefty. I guess if I switch to my righty, that would be mysterious. Although I have so many fucking centuries behind me of jerking it off with my fucking right hand. It's not like it's going to be any sort of, it'd be like visiting an old friend. It would just be, you bring your right hand into the mix in there, and you're like, here we go, fantastic. Because you lefty side saddle, that's nothing wrong with that. But then you bring in the right hand, you're like, look at me, you guys, I haven't seen you in years. Let's have some lunch and throw a rope. Why not? Let's do it together, me and you. You remember the beat, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Sure. Soaps. let's talk more about soap. Let's talk about, you know what? Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that could be. Let's talk about sex, salt and pepper, and a deadly Spinderella. Salt with a Deadly Pepper, right? Wasn't that the album? I think it was. And Spinderella. Those are great names, right? Those are the names. That's the Cheston Brock of rap, quite frankly. I mean, there's a lot of great names in rap. All right, when you come up with your awesome rap name, you've got to consider yourself a genius. But if your band is named Salt and Pepper, and your DJ is named Spinderella, and you name your album Assault with a Deadly Pepper, you don't even, you know what I say? You don't even have to put songs on that album. I got to be honest with you. I think your work there is done. Assault with a Deadly Pepper, and people should open it up and put on the vinyl. I'm going with vinyl, by the way, because I'm an old man. Pull out the vinyl. There's no grooves in it at all. It's just a black disc, and you throw it and you just throw it on the turntable, and there it is, spinning around. They're playing no songs, but it doesn't matter because it's been Assault with a Deadly Pepper with DJ Spinderella in the house. Flavor Flav, that's another good rap name. There's a lot of good rap names, folks. Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Ice-T. I used to joke, oh my God, I'm not going to, I won't bring my joke from 1990 back in your faces, but just suffice to say it was, oh my God, in 1990 it was great. 32 years ago, I used to kill with a rap joke on stage, and I might be exaggerating a lot of this because there's no videotape to debunk it. You know what? It was the best joke ever written. It's the greatest joke of all time. Quite frankly, the Laugh Stop closed down because I did the joke once and the fans rioted. And they stormed out and fucking destroyed the building because they were laughing so much. It was like Joker's laughing gas, that joke. It was like Smilex. I would tell the joke, people get a grin on their face, be like, holy shit, let's destroy stuff. They burned the Laugh Stop down on Airport Beach. Then they went and burned down the Mission. Because they wanted to stay alive. All right. Guys, look. Here's the thing, man. I apologize to you again, having not been here. And is it a weak move to apologize? Probably. And again, like I said, talk is cheap. So telling you stuff is just dumb. And saying to you, oh, well, this is the way to do this, or this is the way to do that, or I should have done this, or I should have done that, and this is the way it's going to be going forward. I mean, I want it to be certain ways going forward. Certainly, I'm rooting for good things to happen. But I will just tell you that once I don't put up a show, and then I told you, I fucking spiral, man. And then I'm like, well, the best show, that you got to do the best show of all time next. Even though people are just like, dude, it's cool. You just talk, do whatever you're going to do. And I know, and you're all very nice and very kind, and you reach out, and it makes me very happy. And I haven't been here in a month. Christ, I haven't talked to you since Christmas. We missed New Year's Eve. You know what I did for New Year? Here, let's talk about that. Let's go talk about New Year's Eve plans. You first. Sounds great. Myself, New Year's Eve, I think I told you my brother got COVID, so there was no holidays to be spent with family. And it's not like I would have spent New Year's Eve with him anyway, quite frankly. But New Year's Eve, you know what? And this is completely true. And it's what an old man does, quite frankly. And look, I don't mind, because right, a lot of things have changed in the past month. I was making a real effort toward changing my schedule, where I would wake up in the morning at a decent hour, like get up at like 9 or 10, and go to bed at like 1, which was really cool, 1 or 2. And I was like, this is awesome. I like this. And sometimes I went to bed at midnight and got up at 8. And I was like, I have to be honest with you, I was enjoying the change. As much as I like it late at night, in the middle of the night when it's quiet and all that stuff, and you're alone and nothing bad is going to happen, which, as you know, this is very important to me. That's how I live my life. I want to survive and be ambulatory and awake during the hours when nothing bad could ever happen to me. If I'm awake at night in my house, that's fucking beautiful. God, I love it. Because in the daytime, someone will knock on your door, and it's not always Jack and Chrissy taking a step that is new. And in my house, the kisses are his and his and his, because there's no hers here, unfortunately. But yeah, in the daytime, anything can happen. You know what drives me crazy is because look, I don't answer the door anyway. But I will say this: right now in my living room, the blinds are broken. Not blinds. I shouldn't say that plural. There's one blind that is askew. Nobody wants an askew blind, but I've got an askew blind. It's my blinds are slats, and you pull a chain and they open up, and then you pull the other chain and then they close, and it's a blackout. There's no light coming through except now. And I don't even know how the fuck this happened. One blind has gone into business for itself. And so now it never goes flat. Right now, all of my slats are flat. I got flat slats all over the goddamn place, except for this one that's about a 2/3, maybe 3/4 turn. So if you, unfortunately, I've checked. If you were to stop outside my house and look in the blind, you can see me, because where I sit on the couch, it's dead in the eye line of this goddamn blind. And look, man, you know what? That is a real hindrance to my hiding from the world thing, because I've had dudes, and look, normally they don't do it because Amazon dudes are like fucking, they're in and out. If an Amazon guy could launch your package from the truck off a cannon, they would fucking do it. But unfortunately, a lot of times they have to come in here, and those Amazon dudes, I don't even, because I've looked into getting that gig, because right now things are tremendously terrifying financially for me, and I'll get into that later possibly. But you know, I'm gonna have to drive shit around, and I'm like, and I don't want to drive people around anymore, because again, they carry germs and every other bad thing, and I don't want drunks in my fucking car, and that's when you make your money, whatever. So I'll probably be delivering dead meat. Or packages. Now, I don't want to work for Amazon, because again, as we know, I'm not very good at pissing into bottles. So I just don't think I would go ahead. Because I don't even know. I always hear that they're like, oh my God, you're under some quota. You got 12 hours. You're out on the road. You got to deliver all these packages. And it's like, well, or not. Or you could just drive like a normal human being and deliver as many packages as you can in a normal day, and then go home. And I guess that means Bezos will fire you, because what they want to do is they will not be happy until they grind everyone into dust. They will not be happy until the entire world is mapped out by Google, and the rest of the world is employed by Amazon to drive on those maps. Google and Amazon, hand in hand, have decided to not only take complete stock of all of the streets that are travelable by boat or anything in this country, and then they've now employed the rest of the human race to drive on those streets. I see the Amazon guys, and they dead sprint. Because this is another thing. Amazon dudes, in addition to dead sprinting and running to try to do things fast, they will come into my apartment complex and they'll have like 7 packages. They'll be carrying all 7 packages. They look like the fucking chef on Sesame Street who falls down the stairs and covers himself in goddamn creme brulee and pudding. It's like, dude, fucking relay 17 creme brulees. Oh. And that's the song of 17. Although it was only like 1 to 12. But still, that dude he's taking on far too large of a dessert burden. He is biting off so much more than he can chew, which is ironic because you don't chew desserts, at least the ones he's carrying. It's always pudding and like real fucking non-textured stuff. And I like a dessert with texture. I like a dessert with bite. I like a dessert with chew is what I enjoy. I like a dessert that you can bite through with your teeth. Because, you know, if you just eat pudding and soup, now you're just telling your teeth fuck off, right? You got teeth, use them. Fucking go to work, man. Whether you're biting a well done fucking dinner, a nice meal, a 4-course extravaganza with salad, crunchy iceberg lettuce, or you're biting your lady's hip bones, and she's pulling your hair out of your fucking head. God damn, it's been a long time. It was funny. My friend Suzanne wrote me a note, and she's a nurse, and she's like, "Oh my God, I delivered a baby last night." And she's like, I helped deliver a baby last night. She was so crazy happy. And I'm like, oh my, that's insane. That is, how was it? She's like, oh my God, it was crazy. But I'm so jazzed by it. It was amazing. And I said, I'm just jealous you got to see a vagina that close up, because pandemic has been a serious cock block. And she wrote me back and she's like, you have no idea how hard I laughed at that. I'm like, well, sadly, it's the truth. I wish it weren't, but sadly, it is the fucking truth at this point. But if you're eating soft food, again, you just use your teeth, just bite them, just go to work, just fucking chomp stuff, right? If you're telling your teeth to fuck off by just fucking eating liquid, because when you break your jaw, yeah, your teeth got to be furious. Like, because also, look, I'm going to assume teeth are sentient for just a moment here. Let's go ahead and let's buy into that. All right, let's buy into that premise. Your teeth know what's up. They know what's going on. So all day you're biting shit and they're like fine with it. And then you're brushing them and they're totally happy because it's like you're giving them a bath and they're thrilled. But then say like you break your jaw. All right. And then teeth are sentient of what's going on inside the mouth, but they don't really know about what's happening outside. So they know they take a shot again, and a couple of them might have been knocked out of place. They're like, oh my God, what happened to Larry? When you get hit in the mouth with a tire iron. You get hit in the mouth with a tire iron, 2 of your teeth fall out. They're like, Larry, what the? What if you accidentally swallow your teeth? People have done that, right? There has to be some sort of accident or fight or car accident where someone accidentally swallowed their teeth. Let's do this. Is there any phrase more terrifying, more nauseating than, oh my God, I shit out my teeth? Like, that's bad, right? That means you had a terrible evening. If you've had a terrible evening, if you have to worry about a bicuspid getting caught in your anus. Oh, now look, there's nothing wrong with eating ass, but if you're eating from the inside out, we got a problem, man. Again, like I said, that means you took a tire iron to the fucking face and you swallowed a couple of bicuspids. You got a couple of molars going down the fucking wrong way. If you want to spit a molar out, that's fine. Because let me ask you this. All right, here's the question we really need to ponder. Now, say somebody punches you in the fucking mouth, right? And you lose 2 teeth and then you spit them into your hand and then you hopefully run away or try to win the fight, the rest of the fight. Don't try to win the rest of the fight if you're spitting your own teeth out. Let's go. Can we all establish that? I think we can. But then you take those teeth and you go to the hospital, whatever they do to your face, and then you rinse those teeth off. And you know what you do? You put them on your pillow and voila. Here comes the tooth fairy and she gives you 50 cents. How fucking amazing is that, right? So even though you got accosted by some white nationalist who busted you in the mouth with a fucking tire iron because you were putting a sign in his face telling him that we don't accept his kind around here. And in the ensuing fray, somehow molars were jarred out of your jawline. You took them home and you gave him a nice little swab and you put them under the pillow. 50 cents. Look at that. I'm assuming it's a quarter per tooth, right? Is that still the going rate? Has it gone up? Has it changed at all? Is Biden responsible for that? Well, I know he's responsible for gas prices. Is he responsible for the tooth fairy? Does she have to check with the U.S. government about what the payout is? I don't know if it's still 50 cents. I'm going to assume it's 50 cents though, because I don't have children and what the fuck. Oh, I'd be so like if my kid lost a tooth, I literally would put like a checkbook under the fucking pillow. I would baby my kids. Everybody's like, you should get a dog. I'm like, yes, that's a great idea. Except I can't afford a crown. I want to make my dog a king. If I have a dog, I'll put a little crown on him, give him a scepter. Lady dogs that he can fucking rampage on and then fucking take them back to the pound, whatever the fuck. I think did I just create a dog brothel? I think I did. I think I may have just created a dog brothel. I'm picking up dog. I adopt a dog, a dude dog, and then I go get lady dogs from the pound and he gets to fuck the shit out of them and then I bring them back to the pound. And so this guy's just spreading his fucking seed all over the goddamn place, but it's worth it because he's a king. He's got his goddamn crown on going to work, just fucking locked up. I turn the hose on him. He doesn't care. He loves it. He just thinks he's fucking in a Flashdance fucking tribute. So you get your teeth busted out, right? You take them home, you rinse them off, and you put them under the old pillow, and the tooth fairy's like, yeah, 50 cents, thank you. And then she takes them back to Toothland or whatever the fuck. So, but the other way, we go this way. What if you're in a brawl in the street, somehow, some way, let's say you're in Brazil. Let's just say this. You're in Brazil, and you're at a pro-mask rally. You're like, you know what, man? I'm excited for masks. And then here come Bolsonaro's stormtroopers, led by former UFC fighter Wanderlei Silva. Former Pride middleweight champion Wanderlei Silva arrives on the scene with a lot of other Brazilian meatheads, and they are furious at you for your mask stance. And you, not being a smart individual, decide to engage with Wanderlei Silva in a debate about masks. Now, this is a guy. Let's see. Let's look at his resume. It's only one word: cage fighter. That's the only thing it has. That's the only thing Wanderlei Silva has on his resume. Cage fighter. Go to right now. Do me a favor. Go to Wanderlei Silva's LinkedIn page. It's literally just you know what? He doesn't even have a photo. It's just his fist. He just has a picture of his fist, and it just says positions, cage fighter. That's all the man does. Okay. And he doesn't agree with your masking stance, and so he wants to have a conversation with you about it. And as we've already established, this man not exactly a conversationalist. What's the phrase? Talks with his fists. Put up your dukes, whatever the fuck you want to say. And again, he is truly one of the Bolsonaro idiots. All those guys out there who just think, for some reason, they think they can punch a germ. I don't know. I don't get it. Someone who thinks they're going to put the flu in a rear naked choke. It doesn't make any sense. Someone who thinks they're going to give a fucking Jujigatame to cancer. It's never going to happen. And yet, for some reason, they believe it. They believe it now until later when they get cancer and then they start their GoFundMe and they're sad. because that's the way it works now. Everybody talks a bunch of shit. Everybody says that's not the thing. And then they get sick and they go, oh, but go fund me for my kid's college and a tombstone. Here's another deal, too. A lot of these fucking hillbilly idiots who wind up getting the COVID and starting a GoFundMe so their kid can go to school, they weren't going to be able to afford college anyway. Like, they weren't going to be able to put this kid through school anyway because they're fucking nipples deep in a septic tank Monday through fucking Saturday and not wearing masks on Sunday. And so they wind up getting the fucking disease. And then they're like, oh, man, we got to put my kid through college so he isn't as stupid as I am, fucking smelling like goddamn everybody's leftover shit and refusing to wear a mask. You work in a septic tank. Put a mask on. How are you not even wearing a mask at fucking work, you fucking dope? I love inventing guys to be mad at. You're in Brazil. You're on the street. You've got a sign. Hey, I like masks. And then out of nowhere, although it's not really out of nowhere because he has theme music. What if that happened? If I'm Wanderlei Silva, I would have my theme music would fucking welcome me. If I was Shogun Rua from the UFC, I would never go anywhere without sending a hype man ahead of me by a minute and a half to play Sandstorm. That would be fucking phenomenal. How could you not? Like, again, I have a theme song. It's fucking amazing, but I'm nobody. The day I get to be somebody, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to have a little hype dude like that fucking midget that ran around with goddamn Kid Rock. Remember that guy? The fuck was his name? Willie C? Billy D? I don't know. It was fucking, I don't know who he was. He's fucking dead now, though. Shocking. Then, unfortunately, a little person died. There's got to be like a stunted growth thing there, right? Didn't he have that disease? I don't know. It's just, it would be just so tough to spend your life like a cock in a chastity cage, never able to grow bigger than you are. That's probably not a great analogy for the little people of the world. I apologize if you're listening. All right, so that's going to wind up in my smash cut. The smash cut they do of me is going to wind up out there. Hey, this is what he said. And let's be honest, I did use the M word. Midget is a terrible word, and I take it back. I don't. See, all right, and let's talk about this real quick. This is something too that affects me a little bit. I don't have a filter on this show, and I just want to say a bunch of crazy shit. And eventually, someone's going to be very upset at me. And by eventually, I mean it happens, sometimes now. And people are like, I can't believe you said that, or oh my god, you're leaning into that now, or that's your position. And yes, it is. But then I because also look, I think I'm on the right side of history on a lot of shit. All right. I'm for everybody to be happy. That's all I care about. That's it. Why am I explaining myself? This is stupid. See, this is the kind of shit that sidetracks me. This is the kind of thing that makes me go, well, you know what? You should now go ahead and stop and have a fucking disclaimer that nothing you say is true. You're not, even though I believe in all of it, everything I've said, I believe. So let's get back to Wanderlei Silva. Who the fuck cares? If you had a fucking theme song, wouldn't you let it play everywhere you fucking went if you were a big deal or important? Because again, I'm nobody, and I don't have a hype man. I need a hype man. That's the thing. Josie, is that his name? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this. I got literally, let me ask you this. How many times at 5:11 in the morning have you sat upright and thought to yourself, I got to think of this little person's name, and it's gone through your brain. You've gone, you're just tossing and turning it back and forth. You're like, was it Hornswoggle? I don't think that was it. Was it Little Beaver? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think his name was Little Beaver. That was a wrestling guy. Remember when I did that show? I talked about Little Beaver and King Kong Bundy? I think I did. God damn it, by year, whatever the fuck. All right. So you're on the street. You got your sign. It says, hey, man, masks. Those are pretty cool. Which seems like a lot of words for a sign, but you do you. Whatever the fuck you got to do. I hate the phrase you do you. Oh, my God. There's nothing. You do you is a bad phrase. I don't care for it. Do whatever you want. It's fine. I know it's too many words. You don't need to shorten do whatever you want to you do you. It's fucking awful. It's like, like I said, when you cheer from championship to chip, I fucking can't stand it. And it's like, I don't want to yuck your yum. Dudes, if anybody is around you, they say that, I didn't want to yuck your yum. I don't want to yuck his yum. Just punch them right in the chest. That's it. Not face. You don't do any damage, but you just want to give them the note that what they did was wrong. You know what? In fact, slug bug them. That's what we'll do. Yuck your yum gets a slug bug treatment, just right in the arm. Slug bug red, boom, smash right there. And if they're like, what? And it's like, we'll call it yuck yum. Yuck yum blue, yuck yum red, and just punch him right as hard as you can in the arm. And they'll be like, what the fuck, man? You're like, don't say yuck your yum. That's what children say. Don't be a child. Although I got to tell you this, man. My little brother Scott is, he's lovely. I love my little brother. But he texts, remember I've talked about this before on other shows. I'm like, you're not Prince. You don't get to use the number 4 for the word for, and you don't get to use the letter C for SEE. You can't. That's Prince stuff. Prince does that, and you're not Prince. You'll never be Prince. No one will ever be Prince again, thankfully, except maybe Little Sweet. He's trying desperately to be Prince, and I enjoy those commercials. I will not lie. I don't like the commercials now where he's like happy with everybody. I liked the Little Sweet commercials in the beginning when he was trying to fuck all the women and they all wanted to fuck him, and even in front of their husbands, which was fucking hysterical. Little Sweet pops out of a fucking washing machine and the girl's like, oh my God, it's so sweet. And the husband's like, what the fuck is this weirdo doing in my washing machine? But the girl's like basically throwing all of her panties at him. See, that was a great premise. Also, I'm going to throw this at you. And I might have discussed this on another show, but it fascinates me. So let's fucking bring it up again, shall we? You know who's playing Little Sweet? Or I'm sorry, Lil Sweet? You know who's playing Lil Sweet? No T's involved? That's right. It's Justin Guarini from the American Idol, the first year of American Idol. From the American Idol, what am I, 70? From the first year of American Idol, Justin Guarini lost in a battle to Kelly Clarkson. And then they made Justin and Kelly go to the beach, or whatever the fuck. They made a movie together. And then and this is just for me, he disappeared from the radar screen. He might have been working all over the place. He was probably singing in Branson a lot, probably doing a lot of county fairs and doing great things. But look, wherever there was a corn dog, there was Justin Guarini. Wherever you were going to find a deep fried Snickers bar, you could be sure that you could take 2 bites out of it and then hear Justin Guarini's voice floating out of some fucking backwoods stage. It's going to happen. That's the way it was. But now he stumbled into this Little Sweet character. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't really recognize Justin Guarini or his voice. So Mike, how did you know that was Justin Guarini when you saw that commercial? Here's how I knew. When that commercial campaign started, first time I saw the commercial, I must admit I enjoyed it because, again, I like Prince. So anybody being a silly like Prince type character, it made me laugh. It didn't make me laugh. I don't laugh. Little Sweet. Commercials. I'm not a fucking simpleton, but I must admit I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Look, I'm a jaded comedian, man. Nothing makes me laugh ever, except apparently myself 20 times a fucking show. But in the first commercial, I watched it, and then there was it looked like, you ever go to get your eyes checked? And they're like, all right, focus, but there's going to be a dot that shows up, and you got to tell me when the dot shows up. And it's super fast, like that. And you go, left eye dot. And then they go, okay, here's your glasses, that's the way it works. It's the way it must have worked for all eternity. I wonder if Ben Franklin invented that machine where he's like, do me a favor, take a look at this gigantic machine and see if you see a dot. This is your eyesight we're talking about, folks, but that's how they figure out what your eyesight is like. Doesn't it seem rudimentary? Shouldn't there be some, and I know there's a laser that gives you back your sight and there's all sorts of fucking tools and bullshit, but it just seems so strange that we still to this day, you lean forward and place your face in the place where everybody's face has been. You ever think about that now these days, especially with fucking COVID? If you go, whenever you look, my ex hated water fountains. She was like, those are the most disgusting things. It's just the idea that there's communal water for people is fucking terrifying. And I do understand that to a certain extent. With her, it made me laugh because there'd always been water fountains. I never even really thought about it. I wasn't a guy using them all the time, but just the very fact that they were accessible, it seemed like a cool thing. But then when you really, again, if you think about something for 10 seconds, you just go, oh yeah, man, everybody's mouth is on that fucking thing. I don't know whose cocks have been in whose mouths. I don't want to fucking go over here and lick this fucking, well, you're not licking it, I don't think. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Maybe that could be the thing. I could be using the goddamn thing wrong. But now, would you ever use a water fountain? No, not in a fucking million years. Unless look, if you're a homeless guy and you're thirsty, yes, there's a water fountain. But that also, no offense, is another reason why you, grown up with a job and a car, should never use a water fountain. Because it is a homeless irrigation system is essentially what it is. It's keeping them alive, and that's good. We should keep them alive. We should do everything we can to help people. And there should be, look, if you want to have a bigger discussion, should there be free water for everybody? Yes, there should. There should just, it's fucking ridiculous to me. The other day, dude, I have these thoughts when you're being high. All right, I don't want to lose the plot here too much. Where was I? I was talking, Justin Guarini. All right, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget to talk about Justin Guarini. But I must tell you about my high thoughts. I just wrote down Dustin. Let's talk about, you know what? Let's talk about Dustin Guarini. He's really got problems. So here's the thing with water. When you talk about high thoughts, all right. I was making ice the other day in my house because, again, I don't go anywhere ever. And here's the way it works in my house. I have a big, a plastic tub, and I have 3 ice trays. So I'll make 3 ice trays, And I try to keep the plastic tub overstocked. Like I want it to be filled to the brim, and then I want half the plastic tub. In addition to that, I wanted to be carrying 1.5 times its weight, to the point where the plastic tub is filled with ice, but then it has to be ice Tetris on the top, where I have to place cubes strategically so things aren't sliding off. Everything is all holding itself up. It's like a game of pickup sticks. It's all up there. A kerplunk. If you pull a fucking one ice cube out, that's all going to fall down. All the marbles are done and you lose. So it's very important to me to construct this ice Jenga. In any other board game I could think of, Ice Battleship, you've sunk my ice flow. I want all of that. It's Ice Jenga. It's right there. Everything is piled on top of the tub. Okay. And then I fill the 3 trays, because because here's the thing. I drink, here, listen, that's my cup. I have 2 cups. I have 2 super big gulp cups. One has Paul Stanley on it. One has Gene Simmons on it. And I will say this, just a couple of weeks ago, I broke my Paul Stanley cup. And you're like, Mike, it's fucking plastic. How did you break it? Here's how I broke it. I was walking. I've told you about these cups before, haven't I? Jesus, I don't know. See, this is the thing. Why do you even do a fucking show? I'm just repeating myself over and fucking over. I filled because I put 11 ice cubes. No, is it 10? 6? Yeah, I put 10 ice cubes. 10 ice cubes go in the cup, and then I fill it with cold water. Unless I'm streaming on Twitch, because I might be there longer than I put 11 or 12 cubes in. Jesus Christ. This is here. Welcome to my brain. Let me open it up so you can walk in and go, what the fuck's going on in here? The trays, the ice trays only make I think they make 14 or 16 cubes or 12. I don't know. It's an even number though. It could be a magic number, like 3. It's a magic number. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Wait, is 3 a magic number? Yeah, it is. Oh, it's figure 8. When you go with figure 8, Schoolhouse Rock, who cares? All right, man. So I got Ice Tetris, I got Ice Jenga in the freezer. So the other day, I crack it all up. I crack the trays, I fill it in, and I'm filling in the ice cubes, the ice trays to go put them in there. And I turn on the faucet, and I fill up the ice tray, and I've got to balance it from the sink to the freezer, because there's nothing worse than getting water on the floor. Now, I will say this to you. I wear slippers in the house, because although I just had to throw away 2 pairs of slippers, I have no slippers right now. I'm a slipperless man. Because everybody goes crazy about a slipperless man. I don't have slippers right now. So when I get back from Chicago, I have to order them. So I have them because I wear slippers in my house. I don't wear shoes in my house. I just do not. I will not do it. Back off, man. But there's if I wear slippers, if I spill water on the floor, I don't wipe it up. I got to be honest with you, because it's just me here. Who cares? It's just some water on the floor, and you know what it'll do eventually? Dry up. It'll evaporate, and that'll be fine for everybody, won't it? Won't you be thrilled? But I will say this: if somehow, for some reason, because it's been cold here, it's been cold in Los Angeles, if somehow I'm wearing socks, there's nothing worse than spilling water on the floor, because then, especially with the first ice cube tray, because then I have to navigate 2 ice cube trays back over to the fridge without stepping in the puddle that has been created from the spillage from the first ice cube tray. And if you step in water with socks, forget it. The socks are done. They're cached. You got to get rid of them. And if you step in water with socks, you can't just take your socks off and throw them in the basket and to wash, because they're wet, and they'll fester, and they will possibly get the other clothes wet. And then a terrible thing happens. And then your laundry attacks you in the middle of the night because it's furious that you don't know how to take care of yourself. And I don't blame it. My laundry would, you know what? If I threw wet clothes into my goddamn basket with dry clothes, they should absolutely conspire to strangle me in the night. Why wouldn't you? So then you've got to take the socks off, and you got to throw them in the, just like kind of hang them in the bathtub a little bit so they dry out. And then you got to get another pair of socks. Well, now you've worn 2 pairs of socks in one day. And now you're just, you know what you're doing? You're just speeding up the laundry process. At that point, you might as well just change in and out of your boxer briefs and wear 3 of those a day. Why are you speeding up the laundry process? 1 pair of socks, 1 pair of fucking boxer briefs, 1 shorts, 1 sweats possibly, instead of shorts, 1 shirt. Don't wear layers, because it just adds more laundry time. And also it's part of my OCD, ADD, whatever the fuck, where it's like, oh man, I can't wear another pair of socks. Well, then I'll have to wear no socks. I'll just wear slippers. But it's cold. Geez, welcome to my fucking brain. So I'm filling up the ice cube trays the other day, and I filled the first one up, and as I'm making my way from the sink, it's just a 2-step process. But I turn my body and then I take 2 steps over to the fridge and it slides in. But I'm looking at the ice cube tray, and the light is kind of shimmering off of it, and it's kind of sloshing a little bit because I'm moving. You know what I mean? I'm not shaking. I'm not an old man with the shakes, but I'm moving with it. So it's kind of form fitting inside the ice cube tray as you go, and then I put it down and I slide it in. And as I slide it in, some has spilled from the last time I cleaned the ice or did the ice, and so there's thin ice like in my freezer that I usually use a hot paper towel to melt it and wipe it up. God damn it. Oh man, why do I even bother telling you this nonsense? Oh, hold on, mouth dry. So I do the second ice cube tray and I'm looking at it, and it does this thing where I start to really think about water in that moment. And I go, man, this is, because look, we all know water's a miracle. All right, water's what keeps you alive. You have to drink water. The very fact that they invented any other beverage besides water, that's just capitalism at that point. That's just guys looking for fucking money. You're inventing booze, you just want to get fucked up. You're inventing soda, that's just, again, you're just wanting to steal cash from people, because water can do the job. Water can do the trick. And not only is water, it's the ultimate beverage, quite frankly. I have friends who are like, oh, I hate water. What the fuck? What are you talking about? You hate water. Water is a miracle. There's no way you can hate water. And quite frankly, you could survive on just water. If I remember correctly, there's a chance I don't. I'm not a science guy, although I know that every other podcaster in the world has a science degree and will tell you everything you need to know about your body and medicine. I'm here to tell you this. I don't know a fucking thing. But I know that water is the lifeblood of your body, and it's the gas that fills your car, and the oil that runs your engine, whatever the fuck, the straw that stirs the drink, whatever you want to fucking call it. Water runs the show, man. Water is fucking amazing. But also, I looked at it in the tray and I'm like, it's amazing. It's a miracle because it keeps you alive. But also, how fucking weird is water? Like we just take it for granted. Because again, if you live your life so you take things for granted. And you're just like, all right, yeah, you drink some water, whatever the fuck. You make coffee with it, you make tea, whatever you do. But also just water itself, it's water is, you use it to drink and stay alive, but also it's in the toilet. Water's in the toilet. It takes your waste away. And also, water's there when you want to brush your teeth. You can't brush your teeth dry with just paste. You got to go ahead and use some water to go ahead and get it a little soppy. And then also, you want to make sure your body is clean? Well, water will do that for you. Water is a fucking genius. Water's taking care of all the goddamn business. Everything you need to do, water is there for you. And then you think to yourself, well, wait a minute. Why is water not free? Shouldn't water be free for everybody? And I know people are like, well, they got to build filtration plants. And they got to spend this money and they got to do that. And it's like, do they? Or do they build filtration plants and then just let everybody have water? I understand you're going to be like, well, there's bubblers out there in the fucking water fountains. Yes, I know, that's great. And it keeps the homeless alive and good for them. And please stay out of the elements and keep yourself juiced up with water if you can. I'd appreciate it. But at the same time, water is, it just seems, it's like saying, hey man, it's also like I was just going to say, it's like saying, hey man, but this is also true. Like buying grass. Like if someone's like, hey man, you want some sod? We'll sell you this sod. It's fucking dirt and grass. Who gets to sell that? And I know I probably sound like some wavy, gravy fuckhead. I get this. I know I sound like some weird hippie, and it's the shit. When I was a young guy, I didn't fucking care about any of this. And like, I gotta be truthful, I don't really fucking care about it now. But I found it interesting when you think to yourself, man, like shelter costs money and air essentially costs money and space. I've said for years, all right, this is just an extrapolation of this idea. I've said for years that parking is a racket. It drives me out of my skull. The very fact that you have to pay to park anywhere is for me one of the biggest rackets in history. You're selling me space. You're selling me a spot. You're selling me, and it's not even selling it. I'm renting it. I'm renting air. I'm renting nothing. That's all I'm doing. I'm renting an X marks the spot on the map. I'm renting the X. That's it. That's all I'm doing. For what reason? That's like a protection racket. Hey man, nice car you got here. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it. Why don't you give us $8? You can park it in our parking garage. Oh, and then what? You'll protect it? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Protect it from the elements. Certainly going to keep you here. You know what I mean? It just seems like so, to me, paying for parking is so dirty and fucking weird. And the fact that cities do it with meters, and I guess they got to do it because somehow it builds bridges, but now we don't fucking build bridges anymore, and we just give all the money to the cops, and I don't fucking know, man. What do I know? I read shit and then I blanch. But like, why? I looked at water the other day and I'm like, water is a goddamn miracle. I do this, I said, I do it with my hands too, which is so weird. You ever just look at your hands? I know it's, guys, get high and then do these things. If you ever look at your hands, and I don't even get high, you know that, I'm just a weirdo. I'm looking at my fucking hands and you just like think to yourself, man, my hands, they've been with me my entire life. These hands have touched everyone I've ever loved. That's insane. It's such the history built into your hands. And also, I'll walk now because look, I am outrageously fat. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have to. That's another thing. That's another reason you need to hear from me for a month. Is I've spent the time racing myself to the grave, and I need to stop. Clearly, I've ignored doing this. You know, the thing I'm quite frankly best at. I will say this: I am now. You know what? I used to think the thing I was best at was talking. Incorrect. Now, clearly, at least second on the list because the thing I'm best at is eating myself to death. I'm really good at that. And then laughing at myself in the process and going, you know what, man, this is it. What are you doing? Are you just going to, I am so good at self-destruction. Jesus Christ. I'm going to call it an art form. I don't even need drugs and shit, man. I don't need booze. How weird is it that I don't like booze or drugs? And yet I'm already I've just got a shovel and I'm digging that grave. I'm digging that dirt. I'm just waiting to put the final. I'm just trying to dot the I and cross the T and Schmidt for the headstone. Holy shit. What is wrong? And by the way, that's a joke because I'll never be able to afford a headstone. I'm going to go to a pauper's grave. They're just going to throw me in a ditch. You know what? It's going to be like a Viking funeral, but without like fire. They're just going to tie like 80 balloons to me and try to get me in the air. And then maybe vultures will eat me in the sky. That's all I want. And you know what? I'm gonna opt that. Not only that it might happen, let's make that happen. Let's manifest it. You know how you speak things into existence? Oh man, speaking into existence, I'm gonna get that job. Oh man, I'm gonna get accepted to my favorite college. Oh, I hope I'm borne aloft after my death by 80 balloons and eaten by vultures in the sky. Let's manifest this. Let's make it happen, folks. Cross your fingers. Let's all chant it. Well, that's a long chant. I can only hope to be borne aloft by 80 balloons after my death and eaten by vultures in the sky. Can we make this happen? I ask you, my dwindling fan base, can we make this happen? I ask you, friends, the only people still listening to me, other people want to get the fuck out of here. Why aren't you doing a show? What's wrong with you? You suck. By the way, that was me. I'm that guy who said all those things. Get the fuck out of here. Why aren't you doing a show? You suck. Hey, look, it's a mirror. All right. Water's insane. And I thought of it the other day where I was just staring at it in the fucking ice cube tray and then staring at it. And I choke it down all day. And I drink 4 of these super big gulps. I love water. I'm powering through it. And that's why I said when I hear people say they don't like water, I'm like, why? Who doesn't like water? Ice cold water is fucking beautiful. It's so good. Oh, I couldn't possibly. All right. Well, I don't know. Then die. Well, no, I'm fine. I drink a lot of things. It's like fucking weird Billy Bob Thornton. I don't eat orange stuff shit. Like or weird Jordan Peterson. I only eat meat. What the fuck does that guy eat? Like lamb, right? Isn't that Jordan Peterson's deal? See that picture of Jordan Peterson with Rogan? Jordan Peterson did Rogan's podcast, and he wore a tuxedo because he's a fucking goof. Looks like Lurch. And then he's in this photo with Rogan, and it's in black and white too, which I don't understand. It looks like 2 guys had a meeting to determine how to kill Batman. Like they just look so fucking weird. He looks like. Because Jordan Peterson, and without the muscles, but just the angular look of his face, he looks like there's a guy named Tombstone who's a villain in Spider-Man. And Joe Rogan just looks like a small. And again, Joe Rogan is not small. Joe Rogan is buff and he's fucking all jacked. But I don't know how tall he is. I've never met the guy. What was he like? He's got to be 5'6", I would imagine. Because let's put it this way: if he's not 5'6", Jordan Peterson is 8.5 feet tall. The picture looked like, you know what it looked like? You ever seen the Guinness Book of World Records when they've got the tallest person alive and it just shows them at a carnival and people meeting them. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, and like this wasn't harmful at all to this guy's psyche. Here's what happens when a regular man meets the dullest man in the world. And it's like, a regular man? What the fuck? I'm regular. I just happen to wear a fucking size 80 long pant. Nothing wrong with that. Like the tall guy has any way to fucking control how he grew. You can't saw his fucking legs in half. Unless it's the Prestige. I bet they could find a way to do that in the Prestige. Michael Caine would figure that out. Man, with that bird cage that fucked that old lady's hand up. God damn, what a drag. But and how do you recover from that? I don't even know how you recover from that, but they did. But then they wound up killing a bunch of people. Never mind. I don't want to spoil anything. Watch The Prestige. It's a fucking fantastic movie. It's another one of those things I've buried myself in as good movies. All right. Water is astonishing, and I don't understand why more people don't partake in it. And who the fuck hates it? People are silly. Oh, I don't like drinking water. Oh, really? You want to die then, I guess? That seems like a leap. You're not going to die if you don't drink water. I mean, if you don't ever drink water. But who did I just read who didn't drink water for 13 days? Duff. It was Duff from Guns N' Roses. He did an interview with Sammy Hagar. And I don't even know who that's for. I have to be honest. Look, I don't know why people listen to this fucking thing. But then when I see these guys, like, remember I talked about the past? Like, Sammy Hagar is still out there, man. He's still out there with the band. The circus. Sammy Hagar, and I'm not exaggerating. Sammy Hagar is 74 years old. That's a rough estimate. I'm pretty sure he's 74 years old. It's like Rick Springfield. Rick is 74. And they're still out there. And like I said, never retire if you're a rock star. Do your thing. The thing I don't understand is who's buying a ticket to go see Sammy Hagar and The Circle with Michael Anthony and Jason Bonham on drums. Although I guess, it's not a bad lineup. I've seen them. Why should I even fucking... I don't know what to do, folks. I see things and I just go, that's weird. And then I see it. I went and saw Lou Gramm. Went and saw Lou Gramm with Pat. And it wasn't even Lou Gramm with Foreigner. Because again, that's all done. Because he and Mick Jones had a fight. And Mick Jones made him sign over the fucking... What was it? I think it was I Want to Know What Love Is. I think it's that song. I don't know. Whatever their biggest hit is, when they split up, Mick Jones is like, hey, man, I'm going to keep the publishing on that. And Lou Gramm is just like, this is how much he hates like Mick Jones. I think he just went, okay, I just want to fucking leave. Because also Lou Gramm, he had heat stroke or whatever. He had a brain fucking freeze. I don't know what he did, but it was bad. It was terrible for him. And then he had to take a bunch of steroids and prednisone, and he looked completely different, but he still sings. He still does this thing. And Pat and I went to see him at because Pat interviewed him for Rock Solid. And whenever Pat does that, they hook him up. We get tickets. We went out to the fucking Canyon Club, and it was a weird show. I will not lie. First of all, we went backstage and we got to meet Lou Gramm and his son. And Lou has a handler. I need a handler like Lou Gramm does. I need a handler. I need a team. And Lou Gramm has that. He had his son there, and they had this other guy who was like providing copies of books and getting Lou over here and getting food for Lou and getting him a drink and making sure that he had the proper set list and all of these different things. Just a guy on the ball. Super sweet. Came out and grabbed us, brought us in to meet Lou. And it's funny, when I do those things, it's so odd. Because Pat, he has a connection with them. He talked to them on the show. So they're expecting Pat. They don't know who the fuck I am. I'm Pat's galoot friend who burst into the back because he liked Foreigner. You know what I mean? And again, they're always very kind to me. They're very nice. Like Lou Gramm was super cool. Shook my hand. He took selfies. We took photos. His son was very nice to us. Everybody was, they could not have done more to make us feel comfortable in what, quite frankly, should be an uncomfortable situation for everybody, because we're invading their territory to say hi. Hey, is there a chance we can say hi to Lou? And and this, let's put it this way. That guy came to get us. It wasn't even like Pat asked. The guy saw Pat and he's like, oh, hey, you guys want to say hi to Lou? And we're like, yes. And we went back there and Lou signed some stuff for Pat, which was super great. And again, after the whole, hi, it's nice to meet you. I really enjoy your work. Thank you so much for letting us in. You're done. There's nothing else to say. But then we're kind of hanging back there and there's like a little small talk happening. And I have my eye firmly on the door. I will say this. I made a couple of jokes and Lou Gramm kind of like, oh yeah, but his son laughed. So that made me happy because it was like, his son at least understood that I was being silly. But they were lovely people. So, but anyway, the show was, it was Lou Gramm with Asia opening. Okay. So I was like, that's a weird bill. Cause it's, I should tell you this. You remember Asia? Heat of the Night, or Heat of the Moment, Heat of the Night. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's Sidney Poitier. He and Asia got together. Mr. Tibbs, I never meant to be so bad to you. That's my Sidney Poitier doing an Asia song. What the fuck? Hey, it's vaudeville. So Asia opens the show, right? But here's the deal. There's I don't think there was one original member in Asia. It was fake Asia. We kept calling them fake Asia. And Pat told me this is the guy who took over for John Wetton. I think John Wetton's actually dead. There might be one, and the drummer's gone. I know that. I think there might be one original Asian in Asia. I'm going to call them Asians because I don't think that's incorrect at all, right? That's what they are. If you're in the band Asia, you're an honorary Asian. So I'm going to say there was possibly one original Asian in Asia, but there may not have been. It might have just been a bunch of nobodies pretending to be Asia because they were once in the band with the other guys. And they played their opening set. They did all their Asia stuff. And Asia has, for me, 3 really great songs and overall 5 songs that I know and really like. But there's 3 fantastic songs by Asia. And of course they are Only Time Will Tell and Soul Survivor and Heat of the Moment. Those are the 3 main ones, right? Over, only time. Yeah, that's that one. You're leaving now. That's fantastic. A fantastic song. So I apologize. You know what other song I love? Wildest Dreams. That's an underrated song off the first Asia album. And then there's a song called The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, which was on Alpha, I believe, or possibly Astra. I don't know. I don't even love Don't Cry. Don't Cry's fine. There's songs that are fine, but there's 4 that I love, and it's Soul Survivor, it's Heat of the Moment, it's Only Time Will Tell, and it's Wildest Dreams. That's perfect. That's your Asia. That's it. That's Asia in a box. You hit 4 songs and you're done. But they're playing an hour and a half, and you're like, I don't know how you're going to find any room for anything else in here, Asia, fake Asia. But here was the thing. I thought Asia was opening for Lou Gramm. Well, but no, here's how it works, friends. And Pat explained this to me while we're in the club, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, no, this is the way it goes. Asia plays their set, and then they go, thank you, everybody. It's so great that you're here. And oh, well, you know what? We've got a special guest. You guys know him. He was the singer and foreigner, Lou Gramm. So Lou Gramm comes out, and he takes the stage with fake Asia, and then fake Asia seamlessly transitions into fake foreigner. And then they are Lou Gramm's backup band. What? Yes. Fucking weird. Fucking crazy chrysalis transformation band goes in front. They're Asia. They leap into a cocoon and they burst out a glorious foreigner butterfly with Lou Gramm right there in the front. Head monarch Lou Gramm. And then they play like 7 foreigner songs because, quite frankly, I think that's all Lou is physically up to. Was it 7 or I don't know? You have to check. It was a small number. It was 45 minutes, maybe an hour with Lou. And I have to admit, it was such a strange experience because it felt like karaoke. It's not foreigner. It's just not, and it's not really Lou Gramm solo because he has no other band. It felt very much like they did a karaoke night. And Lou Gramm showed up to do Lou Gramm's songs. And again, I don't know what he's going to sound like. I'm in the audience. This is the way it works, where I'm just like, Jesus Christ, fingers crossed this doesn't go horribly awry. And we're there, and he takes the stage, and I think he opened with Cold as Ice. I don't know. But boy, he opens his mouth, and the first couple lines, I looked at Pat and I go, hey, because he was, he wasn't in good voice immediately. But I will say this, as the show went on, as even the first song went on, he found his sea legs and he started to sing. Now look, is he 1978 Lou Gramm? Of course he isn't. Who among you is exactly as dewy fresh as you were in 1978? I was an apple-cheeked young 11-year-old doing all sorts of shenanigans and terrible things, and even I can't claim to have been to have held that ethos into my old age here. I'm We're all just Lou Grahams of our previous selves. That's all we are. We are all just Lou Graham shells of our previous selves. And Lou did his songs and he sang them in the crowd, because those shows are not, nobody's there to go, yeah, fucking Lou Graham. Everybody's just there to relive their childhood. You know, I mean, unless Lou Graham was still, like, if Lou Graham was still like hot or like sexy, then like maybe chicks would go there and be like, oh yeah, no, I remember him. I wanted him when I was a kid. And oh my God, look at him. He's still good looking. You know, Lou Graham looks like he should be working in the stockroom of a shoe store now. And it's not his fault. He's been befallen by a terrible disease and in a horrible circumstance. And also, age has arrived. That happens. So sometimes, you know, you're great. You're all fresh faced and everybody loves you. And then, you know, 20 years go by and you look like somebody's foot, and it happens. It's just the way it goes. It's when they pretend that these guys are still like, look, I have respect for Lou Graham because Lou Graham dressed his age. Lou Graham dressed like a normal guy. That was another thing. I will tell you this. That's another thing that made it a little strange, because it didn't seem like a rock show. It just looked like some dude made his way on stage from the kitchen and decided he was going to bust out some Foreigner songs, because Lou Graham does not look like Lou Graham used to look, because, you know, again, the world came along and kicked him in the fucking solar plexus, and that'll happen. So, and again, nothing he did. It wasn't like I'm a rock star doing a lot of drugs and oh no, I've paralyzed my larynx. There wasn't that. That's not a bad song. Somebody jot that down. No, it just happened. Like, again, and it's one of those weird things, dude. Don't you hate when that happens? Like, if you get cancer, like I said, we're all of us right now, we are all just mere steps away from cancer. Everybody, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. It doesn't mean cancel your dinner plans, you know, but just if you're realistic about it, all of us are going to get either diabetes or heart disease or cancer. That's what's waiting for all of us. As long as, until the water wars start and the bullets start flying, if there's any sort of way that we could possibly dodge that, then, you know, hooray at the finish line. You know, you thought the fucking Boston Marathon bombs at the finish line was rough. Imagine just knowing that whatever this marathon of life that you're, you know, dearly beloved, we are gathering today to get through this thing called life. And at the finish line, you know what's waiting for you? You cross the tape. Here's cancer. Enjoy it. And that's your finish line. And I don't mean that I find myself pondering that a lot, you know, where I'm just like, all right, well, and then as you get older, it's probably morbid, but I think of this. I wonder which one's going to get me. I picture, you ever see Almost Famous? And near the end, all the tour managers for the bands are having a poker game. And Peter Frampton plays Humble Pie's tour manager. Mitch Hedberg plays, I believe he's the Eagles tour manager. And then, of course, the tour manager for Stillwater is in there. And then Road Dogg is in there, the guy for Sabbath or whatever. So they're all in there, or the Allman Brothers, and they're all in there playing a poker game. And they're divvying up who gets what. And then the guy from Stillwater puts Penny Lane and the rest of the Band-Aids up in exchange for a case of Heineken. And then he loses the Band-Aids, and it's a turning point. It makes fucking William upset. Don't you just now, because now I like to picture like a poker game with diabetes. You got to figure diabetes and heart disease and cancer are having a three-handed poker game to see who gets who. They just go, all right, I'll tell you what, if you win this hand, you can take down anybody with the first name that starts with M who lives in Idaho. And cancer's like, thank you. All right. And then I'm going to go all in and we'll see. Cause you got to figure, they're betting on kids and every other goddamn thing. They're not good guys. Diabetes, cancer and heart disease. They're not good fellas. That's not a poker game you ever want to get into. And look, they're not above cheating. Because car accidents actually plays in that game occasionally. And then it's like, you guys are fucking cheating. Cancer's like, what, man? We can't help it. We're good at this game. And car accidents is like, well, I'm trying really. Cancer's like, you're never going to beat me. Never. They have been trying to fix me and cure me for how fucking long? I always laugh when people talk about all the money we've given for cancer research. And they're like, how do you not fix it by now? It's like, I go the other way. Why don't we stop funding cancer research? Because cancer won. Declare it victorious. Let's, take all the money we give for cancer research and keep it. And then anybody who gets cancer has a party. They just can't, like, it's like Make-A-Wish. Let's turn all of the cancer research in this country into Make-A-Wish Foundation money. So then it's like some guy gets cancer and he's like, man, I want to fuck Pam Anderson. They're like, done. They just cough up the cash and you do it. You fucking Roger her Roundley. She wears the fucking Baywatch suit. Everybody's happy. Because you're not getting that fixed. And I know everybody's like, well, some people get cancer and they survive. Hey, look, yeah, my mom's beaten it 3 times. 3 times. I had another very close family member. And it's not my story to tell, but they're in remission. They had cancer and they've defeated it. So, I mean, yes, it can be done. You can beat back the Hun occasionally, but cancer just does that thing. It's like Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean? It's just always going to be there. Eventually you're going to have to go to sleep and it's going to fucking show up and it's going to scratch its nails on the fence and tell you that this is God and you're going to fucking collapse. But eventually you do beat cancer and you hold it off. And then eventually cancer comes back and gets you. That's just the way it's going to work. I mean, look, you don't always beat cancer. Because again, there's people who, those people are like, man, I must announce that I have cancer. And then like 9 minutes later, they're dead. And you're like, all right, well, you must have been struggling with this for a while. Cancer's fucked. Dude, death is fucked. How many people have died? Dude, I last was here a month ago, right? And fucking, who died? Betty White died, which was a shock. Because I never saw that coming at 98 or whatever the fuck she was. Look. I'm going to say this, all right? And whether it's you enjoy it or it's popular, we all enjoyed Betty White. I'm sure she was a fantastic and lovely woman, did so many great things for animals, seemed like just the most pleasant and wonderful celebrity you could possibly imagine. And not even celebrity, woman. She seemed like a lovely, wonderful woman you would love to have in your family. You would love to visit her every holiday. But I don't know. I can't, I guess, because this is the line I walk here. I used to just be able to casually dismiss stuff. Like, you ever see those hot take sports shows? I've talked about this before. There's those hot take sports shows where guys are like, Tom Brady sucks. He's fucking terrible. You know, he wouldn't be anything without Belichick. Tom Brady's fucking awful. And I hear that, and then I'm just like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Tom Brady doesn't suck. He's a very good quarterback. He's been in terrific systems, but also he's a fucking winner. Quite frankly, he's the best player in the history of the National Football League because you can't argue with the fact that the guy has constantly won and won now in a different organization. He's fucking great. But at the same time, did he need Belichick for a long time? Yes. Did he have great defenses he played with? Yes. Was the division terrible that he was in? Of course. There are factors that lead you to be the greatest in the fucking world. I mean, I watched the greatest basketball player of all time. I watched Michael Jordan. And he just carved up Hall of Famers and bad teams alike. It was fucking awesome. It was great. But there are people who will be like, oh my God, LeBron James is so much better than Jordan. And you're like, oh, okay. And you could argue it if you wanted to, but all of this is just distractions. It's breads, it's circuses. And I find myself now, like I could be a hot take machine. It's easy to be a hot take machine. You just draw a line in the sand, you fucking go at it. You're like, oh yeah, no, I fucking believe this, I believe that. But then it gets to a point where you're just like, well, no, I don't. There's nuance here. You should always examine that there's nuance here, but nobody wants nuance. They just want to pound their fist, and everybody wants to Khrushchev with their shoe and smash the fucking podium. And I'm going to be truly honest with you. I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. I don't remember what I was saying about being a hot take machine and how it's easy to say this and about who loves. Couldn't tell you. Must not have been that important. Holy fuck. Oh, you know what? It was about Betty White. No, I remember. God damn it. Thank you. Jesus Christ. I was ready to wave a white fucking flag there, man. I had no fucking idea. Look, because I want to say these things, but then I feel like people are going to get, I don't even give a shit if people get mad. What the fuck? Who's going to get mad at me? I'm a nobody on a podcast. It's fine. But also I know there are people close to me who'll be like, I disagree with that. That's wrong. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I do a comedy show. We're having fun. But I'm just going to say that Betty White, again, I'm not saying anything bad against her. She was lovely and amazing, and it's a shame that we lost her. But again, at the same time, she's 99 years old, and that's what it was. She was 99, not even 95. She's 99 years old, and I love this too. By the way, she dies, and a day later, People Magazine comes out, and it's like Betty White's 100th birthday, and I'm like, well, then I'll tell you what, in journalism, this is what's known as overthrowing your receiver, because you had this locked and loaded. They couldn't wait to celebrate her 100th, and then she gives it up on the 99th. What a drag. Tough beat there for People Magazine. But also, this is what you get when you try to write a feature story about someone who's 99 years old. Someone who, quite frankly, grew up on a horse. I don't even think I'm wrong. I think her dad met her mom in a saloon with swinging doors. She's an old person. And she was going to go. It was going to happen. So I guess what I'm saying is, when I see these people on social media, because there were plenty of people on social media who were just like, I refuse to believe it. Oh my God, it's a terrible day. It's the tragic day. And yes, it's a sad day. Clearly it's a sad day. But the people who come out and they're like, devastated by this Betty White news. Are you? Really? You have the constitution of a clothesline in a windstorm then, quite frankly, because if that's going to fold you, I don't know what to tell you. 99-year-old person dies. Now, it's okay that we can be sad that she's gone. And if you had a personal relationship with her, I can understand where you're like, she was lovely. I guess. But I mean, who is it for me? But then this is where I go with the there's two sides. And who am I to tell people how to grieve? Who am I to tell people what to feel? But I think with the advent of social media, we are all getting these in-depth looks at what everybody feels all the fucking time. And I recognize you're not listening to this fucking show if I don't tell you what I feel. You know what I mean? And that's another thing I find myself up against, because I'm like, well, people don't want it, because I'm transposing the way I feel onto you guys. Because I'm on social media, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all these, whatever the fuck. And I'm like, who the fuck cares? Who gives it? Why would you even hit send on that? What the fuck are you doing? And then I do a podcast, and in my brain, I'm like, why would anybody give a shit what I have to say if I don't give a shit what anybody else has to say? I'm just another voice in the void. Now, what you need to do at that point is you got to inject some ego, and you have to inject some, hey, you know what? I'm the fucking talent. I'm good at what I fucking do. People laugh at what I say. I'm a comedian. It's great. But then there's this, this would be a bad thing to say. There's a whipped dog mentality inside me too, where I'm like, well, does anybody give a fuck what you have to say? And I know you do. I'm not looking for a jerk off. I'm just saying, my last show was 4.5 hours. All right. And it was foolish to do a show that long, but I hadn't done a show in a while, and I'm like, fuck this, just fucking unleash and just do a goddamn show and just keep talking. And again, like I've always said, I talk till I'm done. But after I put out the 4.5 hour show, I heard from some people, and I guess what I wanted to have people hastily construct a throne and come and scoop me up in it and carry me around town and sing my praises and tell me what a fucking genius I am. That's what I wanted. I won't lie. You want people to just go, Jesus Christ. Because, I remember the first time I ever put out a 4-hour podcast years ago. It was when I got home from, might have been when I got home from Toronto. I just said I remember it, then I said it might have. No, it's when I got home from Toronto. I did a 4-hour podcast. And people were just like, this is the craziest fucking thing. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. And they were just rejoicing in the streets, and people were so happy. They wrote me, and they're like, oh my, I'm thrilled. And then I put out this 4.5 hour podcast. Now, again, I don't know what I expect. I guess I expect, like I said, the Amazon guy peeks in my fucking window and stares at me. Maybe he could bring me some flowers, whatever the fuck, tell me how great I am. And I already told you that a close friend of mine who has no business, he's an entertainer. He has no business listening to what I do. But yet he listened to the show, and he wrote me, and he's like, I can't believe you can do this. This is so great. And I, that's a month ago he sent me that text, and I just responded to it today. Because again, if you've written me on Facebook, if you've written me on Instagram, if you've written me an email, anything, I've hidden myself away from prying eyes. And I know you're thinking to yourself, you can't hide your prying eyes, and your smile is a thin disguise. Well, I thought by now you'd realize, folks, I can hide myself from your prying eyes, and it's foolish. I don't. People are very kind, and like I said, they're like, hey man, are you okay, or what's going on? Our good friend Mike Yoder is like, look, and this is another thing. People are like, hey man, when you want to do a show, we're here. And that's so awesome. It's amazing when people say stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel terrible, because I'm like, it's like I've given them reason to feel for me, when in reality I should just do my fucking job. And look, how many fucking shows in 13 years, how many shows in the last 4 years have been about me just going, all right, you got to be a shark. You got to move forward. You just got to fucking do it. You just got to fucking do it. And, you know, half pep talk to myself, half show content. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, all right, well, we're fine. We'll do this. We'll be okay. Everything's going to be good. And yet I always find a way to kneecap myself, and I've got to stop. I will say this to you in this fashion. I don't know if it's a way, you know, I've been doing a lot of thinking about it too. And also I don't go to therapy, and none of that, all that's gone. It feels like a light inside of me has gone out. I don't know what that means in the larger context or for the future, but I'm in a mode now where I'm starting, you know, it's this thing where, and again, you don't want to listen to this. This is the thing, is this is truth. This is real. I don't, you know, I'm 54, and this is where I'm at. You know, and this is the thing that I have that is more important than anything. And I'm even shunning this and ignoring this because I don't think I'm good enough now to do this. It's like this weird shadow has been creeping up, and now it has consumed me. And I never, because I've always had rage. I might have talked about this on this show because I've told a few people about it already. I've always been able to rage through things. I've always been able to, you know, just get fucking mad and just do it. What the fuck, man? And now, you know, it's funny what I always think of Elvis Costello. It's like, I used to be disgusted. Now I try to be amused. And I feel that way a lot of the time, where instead of being, because I was angry for 2 years of the pandemic. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at the way things have fallen. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry more than anything. I'm angry at myself. But you also see people acting stupid, and you're just like, what the fuck? What is going on? Does nobody else recognize? Like, I'll give you an example. All right. Just recently, and it's going to be so dumb, but it's an example. This is completely, and you may have seen it too. It was bad for a while where I was really immersing myself in the news and what was going on and investing. And now I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit. I watched the Great British Baking Show. I binged the fuck out of that. I'm in the middle of binging Top Chef. I'm just anything to distance myself from what the fuck is really happening. But unfortunately, then when you do that, it also takes you out of your real life that you should be participating in. It's very easy to just close the blinds and close the front door, and then turn on your television, and there's endless choices. There's so many things I could watch, you know, other than leaving the house to get food. I could very easily stay in my apartment and just read all of my books and watch all of the shows that I haven't seen or that I have seen, and watching them over and over and over, and just survive. That would be fine. And that's a scary thing to say out loud, and a scary thing to actually be doing. It's true. When you recognize that you're like, well, I've had a good run, that's fucking bananas, especially at 54. But also at the same time, you see those like 75-year-old people are like, I tell you what, I got to go out and do some business. Like I just said, like Sammy Hagar is still on the fucking road at 74. And I'm like, dude, slow down. Dude, get a fucking Barca-lounger. What the fuck are you doing out there? But in reality, what he's doing is the smart thing. I'm the one who's got a fucking bag of nacho cheese Doritos strapped to my face like a feed bag, who's got a stack of fucking chocolate bars like a deck of cards on his fucking side table, so he can literally just reach over whenever he wants. It's like a vending machine without needing money. I just can reach over and grab a chocolate bar and just fucking open it up. It's fucking insane. And I've told you this before, you know, when I was a kid, I used to always think I was going to die at 54 years old. I always thought to myself, I'm going to die when I'm 54. That was just the number. For some reason, it came to me. I don't want to say it came to me in a dream. It may have been a series of that or visions or thoughts, or just I thought to myself, well, that seems old, man. 54. Yeah, I'll probably die when I'm 54. And then as I got older, that kind of dissipated clearly, because you're living your life, and then you're 30, and then you're 35. And, then you're 45, and then you're 50, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, 54 is in 4 years. I don't want to fucking die. I'm still doing fine. Everything's great. And then you turn 54 now, and I'm just, in my head, I'm like, is this some sort of weird self-fulfilling prophecy? Because I mean, I might not be physically dead, but I have done everything I can to be professionally and creatively dead since I turned 54. Like, is there something in my brain that's forcing me to do that? Have I just made that decision unconsciously and I'm floating through it? And again, the pandemic didn't help, you know, it didn't help any of you. I'm not saying I'm special. it wound up, in the beginning of the pandemic, I had a relationship starting that was fucking neutered. It was completely ethered because of the pandemic, and there was just no way it was going to work going forward. Although, there was attempts and things like that, but it just fucking, when you, the pandemic, I was in the middle of that, the year of I will, and I'm like, I had just lost 60 pounds and I was really feeling it and feeling good. And then I gave myself permission to fail, which I had spent my whole life doing up to that point. And here we are. And I'm furious at myself for doing it again. And I've spent a lot of my life being mad at myself. All right. But now it's different, because when I was mad at myself before, I was like, fuck, all right, grab your shovel, get a lunch pail. It's time to go to fucking work. And I would be like, you've literally hit as much bottom as you can here. Time to go up again. And then I'd rage, and I'd rage it, and I'd rage this show, and I'd rage whatever, and I'd make things happen. And now I've hit this thing where it's like, I don't feel any rage. I don't feel much of anything, and that's fucking weird. I as I've said many times before, I'm sure I've said things on this show. When I did the one-man show, I did Success Is Not an Option, and I'm not glory dazing. This is just completely true. When I was doing that, the epilogue I wrote for that show was always that it was a song by Pearl Jam called Life Wasted. And I said, and the lyrics are, I've tasted a life wasted, I'm never going back again. I've faced it, a life wasted, I'm never going back again. I escaped it, a life wasted, I'm never going back again. So I would let that song play, and then I would step to the microphone and talk, and I literally would say, well, I've faced a life wasted, and I've tasted a life wasted, but can I escape a life wasted? I don't know. And here I am 10 years later, worse off now than I was then at 44 when I was touring with the show. And because I was touring with the show and I was doing, and then, I made some choices and blew some things up, and some things were blown up for me. And psychically I've taken some hits, man. And we all have, but I'm the one I have to worry about. And I've been scared because I don't know how to claw out this time. And I was very, you go listen to the beginning. It's funny, people, there's a guy, I forget who it is, Thomas. I don't know, you probably doesn't want me to say his name anyway. A listener who's been listening from the beginning. And he wrote me, he's like, dude, he's like, I'm going to try to get my girlfriend to listen. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Do you not want to stay in a relationship? If you and him fucking, especially the early shows, which again, hysterical. But at the same time, some woman's going to be like, what are you doing with this idiot? So then he writes me a note. He wrote it on our Discord, and he goes, you said, what was it I said? He goes, you were talking about Britney Spears. You said, oh man, what the fuck? That chick is like 4 foot nothing. If I went down on her, my tongue would come out of her mouth. It'd be like eating out a puppet. And I fucking laughed just seeing it written. And then he said that his girlfriend has been listening to the show without him around. She's listening to it now. And she thinks it's funny or interesting or great and whatever. Great's probably a word I'm making up, but just the very fact that he's listening to these older shows. And I was very cocksure. I said a lot of shit back then. And look, I say a lot of dumb shit now, but also I have this weird perspective of like, well, should you also, I don't want to hurt anybody. You know what I mean? So when you talk about letting your hands go and just fucking saying dumb shit, like I said midget earlier, and it's like, that's funny to me because it is, but it's harmful to small people and whatever the fuck. And I'm not trying to get anybody upset or sad, and I don't want, I don't need, well, you shouldn't talk like this and whatever the fuck. And look, it's not even like I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. It's that I myself, I don't want to bring any harm to anyone. I don't want anyone to be sad or hurt by anything I say. I don't know. And so I don't know what's right. So a lot of times that also gets in my way where I'm like, oh, should you say that? And I wind up correcting myself. So that's what I say about taking a hot take. Like, cause all right. Cause to me, Betty White, and now here we go. We're going to let our hands go. All right. So I've just prefaced it by telling you that I see shit happening and I want to talk about it in a funny way. And then I wonder, this is going to bother or hurt somebody because I don't want to hurt anybody. But But at the same time, fuck that, right? Because you know what? If it's your fault if you're fucking offended. Shouldn't that be the thing? But also, that's not the thing, because you should have empathy and you should care for people. And I've always said, funny is funny. As long as you're fucking funny, it excuses everything. And I truly do believe that. The problem is, funny shifted. Like all of a sudden, these meatheads took over and made funny something that now if it offends you, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like they've made sure that there's offensiveness built in to make sure that it's funny, because they think it's funnier to make you mad than it is to make you laugh. That's a fucking weird thing, man. And I used to be like that in the beginning. I told you I used to do Michael Jordan's dead jokes and shit like that. I would say things on purpose to try to trick an audience into getting mad at me so I could see if I could dig myself out of it. And what the fuck? What are you doing? All right, so let's let our hands go. Let's talk about Betty White. You weren't devastated she died. It's fucking insane. She's 99 years old. Again, you can be sad. You never met this fucking chick. And you don't even know anything about her. You know that her public image is that she was nice to people and she fucked Alan Ludden and she liked animals. Cool for you. And you liked her in Golden Girls and Hot and whatever the fuck. And that's great. She could have been a fucking complete terrible person behind the scenes. You don't know if she wasn't a cunt to everybody. And look, I saw her Ryan Reynolds ad and I thought it was great. I thought it was fucking awesome. And I do think she was a wonderful person and a lovely lady. But when people are like, so devastated. I'm not even upset that you're devastated. All right, because let's put it this way. Let's take that off the table. Maybe you are devastated. Maybe the loss of Betty White is a tragedy on par with you losing somebody in your own family. And that's fine. But in reality, why are you fucking telling anybody about it? Why are you immediately running to a keyboard? And I will tell you this. You're going to be like, well, Mike, you're a hypocrite because another guy died and you wrote about him. And I'm like, well, yes, all right, I know. And because I felt like I wanted to share something. And I know everybody would be like, well, that's the thing. I wanted to share something. And it's like, I guess, I don't know. Is it the same? Really? Because eventually, you start running out of shit. Like, Howard Hessman died. Are you going to run to your fucking computers? And, oh my God, head of the class was a pivotal moment for me. I don't fucking care, man. I just don't. But also at the same time, I don't need to read this shit. It just comes up in my fucking feed. So what do? I could just skim right by it. I don't need to fucking read it and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? But Betty White died, and then Bob Saget died, and fucking Louis Anderson died, and Howard Hessman is dead, and Sidney Poitier is dead, and Jesus Christ, what a fucking crazy celebrity holocaust has gone on since I was last here. See, I think I'm the linchpin. If I'm broadcasting, these people are still alive. It's my fault. Because I was the one constant in all of their lives. Once the show stopped coming out on Thursday, they were like, oh man, we don't have anything to look forward to. And they lost their wills to live. Their collective wills to live went out the fucking window, man. Hessman and Poitier, Anderson and Saget, Loaf and White, they're done. All because of me putting my show on a goddamn shelf and neutering myself creatively. What a fucking jerk. See, blame me for that. That's my fault. And Meatloaf dying is fucking weird. Not weird because, again, 74 and fat and won't get vaccinated. And that's another. Let's talk about that for just a fucking second. The very fact that, he dies, right? Meatloaf dies. And maybe there are people who don't like him. There will be people who whatever the fuck. And also, there are people, they just assume it's a joke. Haha, Meatloaf a singer. He's old and dead. Whatever, because that's the fucking world now. But then when it turned out that he was anti-vax, and he's a Trump idiot and all that stuff. And he's like, I'm never going to wear a mask. And then inevitably he dies. And everybody on the planet has to get off there. He would do anything for love, but he wouldn't wear a mask. He wouldn't get vaxxed fucking take. They all got to launch that joke into the ether, not realizing it is the lowest of low hanging fucking fruit, but they all did it. Everybody fucking did it. And even worse, dude, like, when I talk about how I now have empathy, or I think I told you the joke that made me change. And look, and it didn't really make me change because I still talk a bunch of shit. But a few years ago, I wrote a joke about Sean Penn, and there was a wildfire or something, or an earthquake, and he lost his house. And there was an article about it. It was devastating loss for Sean Penn because he had he had a whole house that had all of his family memorabilia and some stuff from his father, a whole bunch of stuff. And I read the article. And the joke, not even a joke, just the shitty fucking comment I came up with on stage was, everybody feels bad for Sean Penn. Well, I'll tell you what, because his house burned down. I'll tell you what, if Sean Penn's bank burns down, then I'll feel bad for him. And I would do that on stage. It's not even funny. It was just a stupid, mean thing to say, and it would get me into another bit about celebrities. But, I think about it now and I look back and I'm like, you fucking shithead. Like, he might have lost his baby pictures of his mother. He might have, he's a human being, even though he's morphing into whatever the fuck he is now. He's just literally a leather jacket and a cigarette with a voice. But, which is strange, right? When you're all of a sudden now you're like 66 and now you're still maintaining your weird, tough bad boy thing. Just fucking ease into the fucking grandpa thing, buddy. Nobody needs you walking around that, rebel without a causing it. If James Dean hadn't died, he would have been selling coffee in 20 years. You know what I mean? He'd been Joe DiMaggio. Fuck Mr. Coffee. That would have been James Dean. So for Sean Penn to lean into that aesthetic at 67 years old or whatever the fuck. And look, and I respect Sean Penn. The fact that he's out there fucking rowing boats to people in fucking floods and giving them jetpacks or whatever he's doing and going to Portugal and saving somebody at the beach, whatever he's doing, all that shit that he does, good for him. Go have superhero adventures. What the fuck? Why not? You're rich and famous. That's what rich and famous people should be doing. They shouldn't be talking about fucking... Anytime some rich and famous person gives their opinion on something, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You won. You fucking won. You don't need it all to ever sit here and give me... I don't need to hear what you fucking think. Like a month ago or whatever the fuck, Brian May talked some shit about like trans people and they shouldn't be up for the same awards as what. I don't even know what the fuck it was, because again, I don't care what it was. The very fact that I know that Brian May has an opinion about trans people is fucked. Who cares? Jesus Christ, you're Brian May, you're in Queen. First of all, you're literally half. The only reason we know who you are, quite frankly, is because you played lead guitar by a band fronted by a feather. All right. And so you shouldn't ever have any injecting to go in to talk about the LGBT community and some negative opinion. You owe your life to the fucking biggest BQ there ever was, for fuck's sake. And you should, and just look again, if you're fucking, they asked him about trans people or whatever about cancel culture, and he had some bullshit. He said it was cancel culture, whatever. Dude, you're Brian May. All you gotta do is go, you know what? I think people should be happy. And whatever people need to be happy in their lives, I hope they're able to do it without hurting anyone else. Thank you. We will rock you. And walk the fuck out. That's all you got to do. That should be your stock answer if you're a celebrity. If you insist on talking to anybody about any of this bullshit, you shouldn't be fucking waving your Norma Ray sign in the air and just going, trans people out of my bathroom. What the fuck are you talking about? Clapton with the vaccines. What the fuck are you doing, Clapton? You fucking nobody. Your kid took a swine dive out of a fucking window because of your ridiculous opinions and you're still spouting them, you dick? Why? What? Jesus fucking Christ. If you're a celebrity, don't ever talk. You won. You won. Clapton, you won. Eric, how do you feel about vaccinations? Well, honestly, I think everyone should be able to do whatever they want to do anytime they want to do it. But quite frankly, whatever keeps the rest of us safe is the smart play. I think that's how we handle it. You don't even have to comment on it. You just go, you know what? I'm a musician. This is out of my pay grade. And, you know what? Anything, there's any other answer you could fucking give. And yet still, fucking like J.K. Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter. She literally she invented, this is her whole life. She wrote a story about a 4-year-old who knows magic. You wrote a story about a 4-year-old magician and a guy without a nose. The end. And somehow it made you a billionaire. You wrote a bunch of stories about a wizard school. Just saying it out loud sounds fucking stupid, right? Hey man, why are you famous? Because I invented a wizard school. And there's a guy without a nose who's totally mean to everybody. And it's great. And then they made movies out of it and whatever the fuck. And now I'm crazy rich. Now I literally, I have bonfires with $100 bills, with 100-pound notes, whatever the fuck. And yet she's decided that after all of that and getting her $1 billion, she needs to take a stand against people who are hurting, or people who are just looking for acceptance, or people just trying to live their fucking lives. Like, don't you understand you're giving license to people who are dumb to spout the same bullshit you are? And it makes me question whether or not you are dumb. Clearly you're not dumb. You invented a wizard school, but there are a lot of other fucking sodbusters out there who fucking follow your lead and then they go punch a trans person on the street. because you said it was okay. Just be famous. Spend your billions. There's so many beautiful things in the world. Why wouldn't you go look at all of them? I guess you're probably bored at that point. If you've got $1 billion, you got to be crazy bored. Like I said, like with Elvis, when you're fucking rich, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You could be like, hey, go, you know what? Do me a favor. Go to the high school. Get all the girls. Put them on a bus. Bring them over here. We're going to give them bikinis and just film them for no reason. Not even filming the camera. Let's just tell them there's a video shoot. And they'll all just hop around and get wet. And I'll be excited in my fucking rhinestone suit. Why not? Do it. You've got all the money in the fucking world. Now, that might be more harmful than talking shit in the press now that I think about it. But still. But regardless, so Meatloaf dies, right? And he's anti-vaxxed. And now, as I've said before, and that's another reason, too, with coming to you guys with the show, you know where I stand. And I feel like constantly harping on it. I don't want to be the people that I hate when I see them out there. Like, again, I'll just say this. I think Sarah Silverman is very talented. But all of a sudden she, whenever anybody tells me that Joe Rogan is a fucking idiot, yes, I hear what you're saying. But Sarah Silverman has pivoted from being a comedian to being like an advice person. And I get to see clips of her all the time now giving common sense, knowledge, advice, or whatever the fuck she's doing to people. And I'm just like, wait, I saw her say chink on a late night show. I mean, I no offense. I'm sure. And it's a great joke. I love the fucking joke, but it doesn't mean that she should be the one solving the fucking Gaza Strip crisis. I mean, why is that happening? Whenever the conventions happen, I talked about it. When everybody's like, oh, fucking Scott Baio is so fucking stupid, and Clint Eastwood talk to a chair, and there's Kevin Sorbo, these fucking idiots. And I want to go, yeah, Sarah Silverman is kind of the exact same thing, just on your side. She agrees with what you say. Oh, no, it's not the same. And whether I think the Duck Dynasty guys, who I don't even know if they still exist, are stupid or not, bringing them on stage at a convention is just as stupid as bringing up Sarah Silverman. Who gives a fuck? I understand it's celebrities and all that bullshit, and then that's the culture we live in. But you can't sit here and be like, well, that person is an asshole, but this person's awesome, just because they agree with you. I resent the fact that when people die now from COVID, I'm supposed to laugh and be like, ha, jerks. And I have taken that Schadenfreude attempt at some people when I see like this dumb fucking cop who resigned on the air and said, fuck, kiss my ass, Governor Inslee, haha. And 2 months later, he's died of COVID at 51 because he apparently decided it was better to die than stay alive by getting medicine because 5G and Q and whatever the fuck else goes in your arm. I don't have any idea. All I know is, life is it's the only life you have. That's it. I mean, that ass fuck, even if that fucking nobody believes in reincarnation, he's like, I'm not getting the vax. Fuck you, Governor. Dead in 2 months. Well, now you're just reincarnated back into a world where there's still vaccinations, you dumb fuck. What do you think, you'd wind up on Jupiter? It's not going to fucking happen. Your ghost is going to roam the earth looking at people in masks and going, I should have worn a goddamn mask. What's wrong with me? Then you're going to try to bother Norm Macdonald. He's going to go, get the fuck away from me. I don't know who you are. Because again, celebrities are just little celebrities in Ghost Town. It's not like you get to be fucking palling around with any of these fucking people. Jesus Christ, who do you think you are? You're going to go talk to these people? Hey, who are you? Well, I'm Bob Saget. I used to host America's Funniest Home Videos. I know. I'm the cop who resigned on the air by telling the governor to kiss his ass, and then I died from not getting a vax shot. Want to go get a drink? No, I don't want to get a drink with you. And it's not even about your anti-vax shit. But also, I'm a celebrity. I'm going to go to celebrity heaven or ghost town or whatever the fuck it is. And you can stay down here with the plebs, you fucking nobody. Why don't you get on the radio and broadcast that? Fuck. I don't have a point to any of this. The point is that we're all far too overexposed. Because also, I'll tell you this. I was talking about Meatloaf. Let's finish that. Meatloaf, he dies and he's unvaxxed and everybody makes fun of him. And I saw, literally within a day, I saw he would do anything for love, but he won't get vaxxed. Ha, ha, ha. I saw that joke. And then I saw the meme of, it was meatloaf in an oven. It was like, meatloaf, you just turn it up to 400 and then you wait for all eternity. Whatever. And then people saying, then the people who are like, oh man, I'll bet Betty White is ignoring Meatloaf in heaven right now. All the dumb shit, every dumb low-hanging fucking fruit joke that you could possibly imagine. And I'm reading them and I'm like, I love Bat Out of Hell. You know this. When Steinman died, I talked about it here on the show, and it was such a tragedy to lose his talent, in my opinion. You know, I thought he was a talented guy. He meant a lot to me, but also he was a guy who didn't take care of himself, and I understood why he died. I wasn't devastated, but I was devastated when Eddie died. Eddie was a hero to me. So maybe Betty White is a hero to some people. Maybe, but I don't understand the other side of it, the making fun of Meatloaf, the making fun of people when they don't get vaxxed, the making fun of people for dying, because, you know, I've met Meatloaf's daughter, Pearl. You know, she's married to Scott from Anthrax, and I've been to parties, and this is a million years ago, but with, you know, Brian Posehn, and Brian's great friends with them, and then Pearl and Scott would come to the party as well. I'd be there, whatever. Or at comedy shows, you'd see them all the time at the UCB. And they're just, she's lovely. You know, they're nice people. And her dad died. And you might want to make a joke, and you might think it's the hot patootie guy, and it's Meatloaf, and the big fat sweaty guy with scarves. Still somebody's dad. And I have a personal connection, so of course it lands a little closer to me because she was very nice and she loved her dad, and it's a shame what happened. It's terrible. And that's what I'm saying though, where I'm conflicted with the hot take things, where, you know, I normally make fun of people for doing dumb shit and stuff, but then in my brain I'm kind of like, well, you know, but I also do dumb shit. That's a crossroads I found myself at with this show. And I don't want to be the good news guy. You know, I can't be Krasinski going out there and going, guys, did you hear about a puppy? I mean, what the fuck is that? I don't want to be that dude either, but also ranting at shit when you're seeing both sides is difficult because you have to subsume who you are then. Like I said, I could be Alex Jones. I could just be some bullshitting asshole who's just like, oh, and another thing, and you won't believe this, you know, all that stuff. But that's exhausting. Like I have Jimmy Dore is a comic I worked with in Chicago. And Jimmy Dore is a gigantic celebrity right now. And I know you're thinking, well, no, he's not. Well, in certain circles, he's huge. He's in comedy, he's not nearly as big as he is now as a political pundit commentator. I mean, the guy's on fucking Tucker Carlson. He's all over the place. He's just, and he's making unbelievable money doing it. The guy just bought a fucking $1.5 million house in Studio City. And I only know that because it was in the Los Angeles Times. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because it's a comedian, Jimmy Dore. I'm like, what? And I gotta be honest with you. I never thought I'd see the phrase, out of the entertainment section. If I ever saw the words comedian Jimmy Dore, I would have to think the next two words would be tragically killed. But unless it was, because in the entertainment section it's about his life, but this was in a fucking real estate section. I'm like, what the fuck? It popped up on my screen and I clicked on it and there you go. And Jimmy's got a house and he's fucking doing extremely well. And that's great. Good for him. He's found a niche. Do I agree with any of it? No, it's absolutely not for me at all. But also not even the message or his beliefs. Whatever the fuck he's got to do to keep shoveling coal into the flames and keep the Titanic running is fine. The ship running. I shouldn't say the Titanic because that makes it think I'm going to sink. I don't think it's going to sink. I think he's very smart and he knows what he's doing. And he may believe these things. That's fine. But what I'm saying is I see him, him and Tim Dillon. Pat didn't know who Tim Dillon was. And I was trying to tell him who Tim Dillon was. And then I said, all right, here's something you'll understand. He makes... I think it's $100,000 a month on Patreon. It might even be more than that. And Pat looked at me like, what the fuck? And I go, yeah. And now look, do I think Tim Dillon's funny? I do. I have to admit it. I've seen his clips and he's got funny in his bones. He's a funny dude, but also, man, that just seems exhausting what he does. Now he does it extremely well and he does it great. And is there a small part of me that sees a guy who's ranting, making money and going, oh man, I could have done that. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not saying I'm as funny or as talented or as good, but maybe I am. But also I couldn't truck with that every goddamn day. I mean, there's just that fucking outrage, the industry of outrage, just fucking constantly fueling it and taking the opposing side. And it all just seems so fucking like you just want to sleep after a day of doing that, being on your show and shouting about it or going, I mean, and I get it. You're making bank and you're playing to people and you're never going to go wrong. This is it's an unfair statement because maybe Tim believes all these things. He might. Jimmy might believe all these things. They might. But for me, I just find it to be, like I said, outrage for outrage's sake and also for money's sake. And there's nothing wrong with that. Make all the fucking money. Because I'm sitting here, hey, look, I'll just share this with you. I just got a tax bill a couple of weeks ago that knocked me on my ass, and I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And let's put it this way. Tim Dillon could pay my tax bill 4 times with the month of his Patreon. But I am not Tim Dillon. And so I let that showed up, and then that made me even spiral further where I'm like, oh, well, fuck, what's the point of this? And now I'm here and I've got this debt and then blah, blah, blah. And when in reality I should be doing the fucking show because you guys are the only thing keeping me fucking afloat at this goddamn point. So it's silly to avoid this. What a fucking goon. I don't know. So Meatloaf died and Pat and I just did a show. If you don't know, it's out there. I'll just tell you, I did a Rock Solid episode with Pat, and you'll have to look in the archives. I think it's from a couple of weeks ago. But Pat and I did a show about Meatloaf, and it's also 4.5 hours. It's crazy long. It is a long ass show about Meatloaf, and then Meatloaf dies. And this is the 3rd time this has happened for me and Pat. Pat and I are the angel of death for these rock stars. And granted, that's because we wind up seeing these old fucking rock stars. But, it happened with David Cassidy. We saw David Cassidy at the Canyon Club in Agoura Hills. And it was a terrible show. We were actually tweeting about it and putting it on Facebook. He was drunk. He fell down during the show. It was just bad news, man. And it went viral on TMZ, not our posts, but other people's posts. And because people were tagging TMZ because, again, fantastic society. But also I was making fun of him. I was posting it on Facebook and going, this is fucking awful. So I can't be all high and mighty. And then he died like 2 weeks later. Because then he said he had, what did he have? I don't know, lupus, Alzheimer's, some bullshit. He made something up about, instead of saying he was drunk, he had some disease. And then he wound up dying 2 weeks later. And I'm like, God damn it, that was his last public appearance. And we were there. We fucking killed him. What a drag. And I would have never thought anything of it until then we saw the Monkees a couple of months ago. And we saw them at the Greek Theater, and watching the show, I didn't sit with Pat. I bought my own ticket and he was with another buddy. And afterwards I was like, man, that was rough for Nesmith. And he's like, yeah. And I go, because from my seat, the vantage point I had, I could see the wings of the stage. Okay. So I could see stage left, backstage. So I could see the band performing, and there's Mickey, but also I could see in the wings Mike Nesmith, and Mike Nesmith had handlers with an S. And they would bring him up with like their hands on on his shoulders and stop him at like an arrow. And he would just stand there kind of slump shoulder looking at the ground. And then Mickey would say something, and then they would pat him on the shoulder and they'd kind of gently push him, and then he'd walk on stage. It was like he had no idea what was going on. It appeared to me as if he did not understand what was happening. And then he came out and, he sang. He did, to whatever end a 78-year-old man can sing. And then he would talk to the crowd and he would trail off, and then everybody would clap because they were just happy to be in the room with him. And, but it was really, and it was the last show of their tour, and it was supposedly their farewell show forever. That was what I was told, and that was why I bought the ticket. And then they rescheduled a show that they were going to do 2 months later in like Tennessee. I'm like, you fucking idiots. I just bought this ticket because it's the last time I ever get to see you. Well, I got news for you. It turned out to be the last time I ever saw them. It was the last time anybody ever saw them because fucking Michael Nesmith died like 2 weeks later. And Pat, I called Pat. I go, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are we doing? And then sure enough, we do the Meatloaf Rock Solid. And we recorded it a month ago, but then it gets released, and then he winds up dying a week later. And I'm like, man, are we, you know who we are? We're like the Ring. We're like the girl in the well from the Ring for rock stars. If I go see your show, it's reversed. If I go see your show, you're going to be dead in a week or 2 weeks, actually. Jesus fucking Christ. So I don't know. I'm seeing Sparks next week. So bad news for the Mayall brothers. That's going to be terrible news. They should pay to, you know what? I should make this a lucrative thing where they pay to keep us out, where we don't go to these fucking shows anymore. These people are just like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Don't show up. But I guess, like I said, grieve the way you want to grieve. See how I talk myself out of it? Like I'm all ready to fucking fire, and then I go, well, then what are you doing here? And that doesn't make for a good show or good content. Nobody wants to hear me learning on the air. Nobody wants to hear me evolve. You want to hear hot takes. Aha, Betty White, what a cunt. Then you're like happy. Yay. Listen to what Mike said. Even though I found her to be beloved as well. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. I didn't, it wasn't any of those things. I just thought she was great. Whatever. She was fine. But she wasn't anybody that meant anything to me. But she may have meant things to other people. Because also, at the same time, there were deaths that meant something to me while I was not broadcasting. There was a guy in Chicago, a guy named Les Grobstein. He was a sportscaster. And I wrote a thing on Facebook, like a little tribute, whatever you want to call it, to him. And he, in 1977, Sports Phone premiered in Chicago. Sports Phone. You could call up a number. It was 936-1313. And I would call it, and they would give you scores, this 2-minute update about scores or whatever the fuck. And it was fascinating to me. I was 10, and I would listen to it, and I loved it so much. And Les Grobstein was one of the main guys. Pat Benkowski for Sports Phone, David Schuster for Sports Phone, Fred Hubner for Sports Phone, Les Grobstein for Sports Phone. And God, I loved it. And I couldn't believe that you could just call up and hear about sports. And I wanted to do that. When I got older, I just wanted to be a guy who just talked about sports on the phone. I was 10. I didn't think he made money. I didn't care if he made money. All I knew is you could call up and get somebody telling you about sports, and they would change it every 15 minutes. The worst would be when you'd call up in 14 minutes and hear the same report. You'd be like, oh man, but you'd listen anyway, because I loved hearing somebody talk about sports. And Les Grobstein was one of those guys. And then Les Grobstein became a broadcaster on like WLS, and he was on with Steve Dahl, and he was on WLS with Larry Lujak, and these legends. You can't tell the story of these broadcasting legends without including Les Grobstein. He was a key part of their show because he was a foible. They would make fun of him, they would tease him, they would goof on him, and he would fucking ride with it. He was a straight man essentially, and they would make fun of him all the time, and he was fine. He understood. He would even say, "Hey man, I got a role on the show. Sometimes you got to pick on a guy," and to have to be that well adjusted to be picked on in the third largest media market in the country and realize it. I mean, that's fascinating to me. He was an everyman. He was a schlub. He was a guy who loved Chicago sports and whatever. He meant something to me. Now you don't give a fuck about Les Grobstein. You're probably making fun of his name. And I understand that, but he had meaning to me, and it's terrible. So I guess maybe there's somebody who was saved by the Golden Girls. Maybe there's somebody whose greatest moments were watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show with their mom, and then they lost their mom. But then, as they were in hospice with their mom, they would watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show and remember better times. I don't know. See, that's the thing, is that encroaches upon my ability to just burn everything to the fucking ground and to make fun of people. I mean, I do still make fun of people. I do. But then I go, oh man, what are you doing here? You're wrong here? I mean, could you feel the same way about something else? Do you have to go this route? And yes, because it's funny, but also at the same time, I don't do no harm, And what harm is it if somebody loved Betty White? But it's also just ridiculous that people immediately run to their keyboards to go, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. But also I wrote a tribute to Les Grobstein. You see what I mean? It's there's so many facets, and it confuses me. And that's why it makes me go, well, nobody wants to hear me do this because I'm a hypocrite, because I love Les Grobstein, but I make fun of the fact that Betty White died. I have no connection to Bob Saget. I didn't watch America's Home Videos, but I have friends who loved him. You know what I mean? They loved him from his show, and they knew him in person. My friend Mike Toomey in Chicago was really good friends with Bob Saget. He would open for him whenever he came to Chicago, stayed in contact with him, said he was just the fucking sweetest guy. And it's a shame. It's a shame when anybody goes, I suppose. I don't know. I have no moral, man. I got nothing to tell you, but I'm just telling you that these things, they play upon me, where I go, well, can you just go in and burn it all down? Or do you have to recognize that there's other facets and sides to all of these things? I mentioned that Les Grobstein died. My favorite hockey player of all time, a childhood idol of mine, died. A guy named Clark Gillies. Played for the New York Islanders. When he was in the league, he was known as he was one of the toughest guys in the league. He was known as maybe the best fighter in the National Hockey League. And he had that reputation because, in a playoff series against the Boston Bruins, the Islanders used to always get pushed around. They'd always get pushed around constantly by the tougher teams, the Flyers, the Bruins, all these fucking hard asses, because the Islanders were finesse team. Well, then they bring up Gillies, who's 6'3", 225, power forward. And they played the Bruins in the playoffs, and he fucking fought Terry O'Reilly 4 times. Terry O'Reilly was one of the badasses on the Bruins, along with fucking John Wensink and Stan Jonathan and a bunch of these dudes. And the fights with O'Reilly, it was probably 2-2. But the fact that he would stand up for the team galvanized the team. They went on to win fucking 4 straight Stanley Cups. And he was the captain for a while before Trottier took over. And I loved watching him. His nickname was Jethro because he was just a big fucking dude. But also, he had all of the skill in the world. He would score goals. He played on the top line. He was a fearsome presence, whether he was scoring or fighting. He was to be feared both ways. And he made the Hall of Fame a few years ago. And it was fucking phenomenal. And he's just, I have a Clark Gillies Islanders sweater. I have it in my closet. It's too small for me because I'm a giant. But eventually I will lose enough weight to wear it because I loved him. He was an idol growing up. Mike Schmidt and Clark Gillies and Walter Payton and, Dr. J and Daryl Dawkins and Michael Jordan. I had guys, I had to have favorite guys when I was a kid. Hubert Green was my favorite golfer for no reason. Just because green was my favorite color, and I decided that Hubert Green was a good guy to love. I loved Bjorn Borg. He was my favorite tennis player. I thought he was so cool looking. When you're a kid, that matters. When you're a kid, you have favorites. You love things. And I loved Clark Gillies, and he just died of cancer at 64. And that's too fucking soon. Especially when you're 54. I don't know, man. So, you know what I forgot to tell you? I literally just glanced down. When I was watching the Little Sweet commercial, I'll get to that in a second. I don't know where I'm going with the death thing, man. I just know that people have died, and if anybody if you were invested in any of these people who died, then it's a terrible thing. And it's a terrible thing that they're dead anyway. Howard Hessman brought joy to people. Sidney Poitier brought joy and dignity to people. Not that Hessman didn't bring dignity. Sounds like I'm parsing. Louis Anderson was beloved. There was a pasta made in the shape of Louis Anderson. It's not a joke. There was a fucking SpaghettiOs that looked like Louis Anderson. Man, you've arrived. If Bob Saget's talking about your dog licking his balls, fucking Louis Anderson he was in a can. They had Louis Anderson in a fucking can. God damn, that's amazing. Meatloaf's in Fight Club. I can find something to love with all of these people and the things that they did. So that's why when I come in here with guns blazing and wanting to tear shit apart, I feel stupid sometimes. What do I know, man? The fuck do I know? On the Dr. Pepper commercial, Lil Sweet is on there, and I was watching once, and a little fucking blurb went by, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And like I said, it was like one of those dots when they're testing your eyes, and I was like, what is that? So the next time the commercial came, I looked down, and I tried to catch it super fast, and I thought I saw a name, but I'm like, well, no, that's not real. And then sure enough, the third time I saw the commercial, it said featuring Justin Guarini as Little Sweet. So not only was Justin Guarini Lil Sweet, he somehow has the most powerful agents in Hollywood because they finagled a credit for him in a commercial. Like that is, have you ever watched a commercial? Like, let me ask you this. You know who Flo from Progressive is? No, you don't, but you see her every fucking day. That's actress Stephanie Courtney, comedian Stephanie Courtney, who was incredibly lovely to me when I met her here in Los Angeles when I first got to town in 97. We would do open mics. And she's the best. But that's Stephanie Courtney playing Flo, but they don't put Stephanie Courtney as Flo in the commercial. You know what I mean? It's unheard of. So for the fact that Justin Guarini wound up having his fucking agents somehow finagle him a credit in a commercial, that's some fucking show business power that I didn't think Justin Guarini was wielding. I don't know what who were the Dr. Pepper people that are so desperate for Justin Guarini that they acquiesced to that demand. All right. We think Justin is our Lil Sweet. Terrific. You've got to tell the world. Well, all right. Well, we'll put out a press release. No. We believe here at Team Guarini that you should put a credit in the commercial itself, stating that Justin Guarini as Lil Sweet. That's what people are watching. Oh, no. You understand we're a sugar water business, right? You do get that. We're not in the, hey, who wants to buy Justin Guarini business? We're in the drink this and get diabetes business. And Guarini's giving nobody diabetes. He might be giving them Guarinides, but he's not giving them diabetes. And that's the business we're in. You don't tell the doctor what to do. And then you would think it would end right there. But no, Justin agents, they draw a fucking line in the sand and they're like, oh, really? Well, no credit, no Guarini. And unbelievably, the Dr. Pepper executives folded. Those panty waists, they were like, what? No Guarini. That doesn't make, well, how do we? And they capitulated and they folded. And now to this day, the world knows that Justin Guarini is Lil Sweet. And if you didn't know the story, now you do, damn it. Now you do. I'm going to end on that, right? I forgot how to do this show. Isn't there supposed to be some poignant ending? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm getting on a plane in an hour and 15 minutes. So probably this is a good idea to end it because I still got plugs to do. Oh my God. I should have done the plugs in the beginning. I owe fucking Jesuit an apology. You guys can get me at mike@mikeschmidtcomedy.com. You guys can be my friend on facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You can follow me on twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. And also I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Mike40YOB. Mike40YOB. Why wouldn't you find me there? I'm there to be seen. God damn it. I'm beloved. Just like Betty goddamn White. Check me out on all those formats and stuff. And, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm there. Follow me. Thanks to everyone who's reached out, everyone who's super kind and nice to me and told me that everything was going to be okay. And I will believe you, I guess, or I'll try. Like I said, this is going to be the show this week, and then we'll be back next week. This is Tuesday, February 1st. We'll probably be back Thursday, February 10th. That's what I'm going to say, because I don't even get back to town here until Tuesday, the 8th. Maybe we'll jump on it earlier, but we will do our best. And again, talk is cheap. You don't give a fuck. When the show's up, the show will be up. But please know, this isn't a joke to me. This isn't me going like, haha. I find it quite dangerous that I've given myself permission to slide like this, and I have to do what I can to extricate myself from this fucking slide down this fucking glacier into Nowheresville. I gotta fucking fix it. So thank you for bearing with me. Love you guys. You're all super cool. I appreciate it. And did you know David does a show? What? Yeah, I forgot to tell you about David. Jesus Christ. It's been a while, guys. Been a month. Our great friend, David Hernandez, he does a fucking podcast. He's got a page. First of all, be his friend at facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. You can go ahead and be his friend. That's awesome. And while you're being his friend there, you can check out his page. This is dumb, that's dumb, you're dumb, I'm dumb. He's ready for you to check it out and love it. You will love every second of it. It's him controlling the internet for some weird reason. You want to hire him to do artwork? You can. You can get him at artbydmh.com. My mouth is so dry right now. Artbydmh.com. That's ARTBYDMH.com. Check out all of the artwork he's done on that website and also on his Facebook page. If you go, like I said, to become his friend on Facebook, you can scroll through. Right now, he's putting out some fucking amazing paintings of the Who and the Stones and the Beatles. Just fucking these legends. It's astonishing the level of talent this guy has. And you can witness it as well in audio fashion by listening to his podcast, The Phlegmcat Podcast. That's 2 words, Phlegmcat, and it's PHLEGM. The Phlegmcat Podcast is available for you wherever the finer podcasts are released. He is doing amazing singing work. He's doing voices. He's got bits. It's just him talking and telling stories. It's just a overall rubric of awesomeness, and you should check it out right now. The Phlegmcat Podcast is available in the iTunes store. Go ahead and check it out, please. That'd be fantastic. And follow him anywhere you can. But Facebook is the main place. He's on Instagram too. Is he David Mex Hernandez on Facebook, on Instagram? He might be. Regardless, the main place to find him is at Facebook. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez.
Civil War. Yeah, ain't no joke. You better step aside. Don't provoke the big angry. Ain't no joke. You better run and hide. You just awoke the big angry. Don't you get too close, cause they'll open fire on you. Don't you catch a bullet when they go astray. What you gonna do now? The story's coming true. What you gonna do now when he goes away? He is deep inside his head again. He can't hear you anymore. You don't wanna be in there with him. Who will save you from his civil war? Yeah, ain't no joke. You better step aside. Don't provoke the big angry. Ain't no joke. You better run and hide. You just awoke the big angry. Agent of chaos, violence and pain. It's just him, there's no us. What's the point in trying to explain? Has got an answer, everybody try. Everybody climbs aboard, you think you wanna ride. Everybody climbs aboard, everybody dies. He's deep inside his head again. He can't hear you anymore. You don't wanna be in there with him. Who will save you from his civil war? Yeah, ain't no joke. Step aside, don't provoke the big angry. Ain't no joke. You better run and hide. You just awoke the big angry. Ain't no joke. You better step aside. Don't provoke the big angry. Ain't no joke. You better run and hide. You just awoke the big angry.
Didn't you miss those commercials? Don't you love having them in your life? I hope you did. I hope you do. Hold on. I'm getting a text that's very important. Let me check this text. It's a text from Fearful Jesuit, who literally just texted me and said, what time's your flight? Because I assured him there would be a show up before I left town. Because let's do this. I owe Fearful Jesuit an apology. This is a man who sponsors the show. Did you know we have sponsors? We do. Look, you barely knew we had a show anymore, but we still have sponsors for this show, and one of them is the Paranoid Strain podcast with our good friend Fearful Jesuit, and he's been unbelievably nice and understanding. He has reached out to me, and he's like, hey man, this will tell you what a good friend he is. Literally, he's like, there's only one thing I have to ask, please. I'm asking if you can please have a show up January 6th, because it's very important to go with my show. And I said, of course, there will be a show up January 6th. And here we are. Because again, he obviously forgot about the tradition where we blow off January. So now, February 1st, I can tell you about his show that came out January 6th. Isn't that great? And I did him a disservice, because this is an unbelievable piece of work. You should check it out if you haven't already. It's the Paranoid Strain musical. That's the only way to describe it. It is the 9116 rock opera. It is available right now in your iTunes. Now, I think he just put out another statement, like a state of the podcast thing, but it's easily downloaded on from iTunes or from Spotify. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's on Spotify, and I guess things are really kind of picking up for him over there. So go ahead if you want to check him out on Spotify. That's great as well. He's available in the Apple the podcast space, wherever you want to look. He's good there. Hey, I'm on Spotify too. While you're there getting podcasts from Paranoid Strain, why not check me out? I do podcasts occasionally, once a month. But he's over there at Spotify and doing great things. But this, like, I can't even, it's one of these things where, like, no matter what I say, you're going to be like, you're lying. And it sounds like I'm jerking him off. And I don't mean to, you know, and also you're like, well, he pays the sponsor. Yes. But I also don't lie to you guys. I heard this Paranoid Strain musical. It's a rock opera is literally what it is. It's a rock opera. It sounds amazing. Like, I don't know what loss of gain, whatever the fuck, any bad thing that happens here in the, when you hear my show, I still think you hear me okay, but I'm recording through a laptop and a microphone. Now, you guys, when you hear what he did, he went into a studio with a band, and it just, the quality of sound is, you know what? I think he called Neil Young, and they did it on a Pono, whatever the fuck. Because it is ridiculously rich and detailed, and it sounds like a fucking CD, like from a band. It sounds amazing. It's, you know what? I describing it to you, it's literally a rock opera. As he got together with the Paranoid Strain Orchestra, and they put out, first of all, there's soundscapes all through the goddamn thing. There's, first of all, you hear Temples of Syrinx on the radio as they're scrolling through a car radio from 1979. The Chads, nothing I say will make any sense. So I'm just going to say things that are in the show itself. The Chads, Corona Racha, Putin Polka, Synchronize Your Swatches, Thickerts, Quantum Malarkey, 1488. Like all of this is involved. It's very Zappa. I will tell you this. It really rang true of Zappa for me. When I heard it, I was like, this is such a fucking Zappa. And I don't even know if Jesuit would consider that a compliment, but I hope he does, because I consider it to be an incredibly high compliment, because it's working from the top of its intelligence. It's silly. It's nonsense. Now, look, is there a lot of scat talk in some parts? Yes. Do I care for that? No. But I also recognize the talent involved in what they were doing. And I had to ask him, I go, are these guys improving their parts? And he's like, no, I wrote it. He wrote all of this stuff, and some of the stuff they interjected, but this is all scripted. Like, everything is written, and it's brilliant, man. There's an unearned shot at Wesley Snipes, quite frankly. I don't know why they had to take down Wesley, but you know what? If you want to do that, if that's what brings you to greatness, then go ahead and make it happen. Jesuit sings on this goddamn thing. Jesuit sings. You'll hear about Daniel, Arizona. It's got a brilliant little wraparound conceit where in the beginning and the end they kind of match up. It's very much like The Wall, which is actually referenced within the show itself. Dana has a song. Dana sings, and that's fucking amazing. I can't... My mouth is drying out. I can only describe it to you as an unbelievable audio soundscape that's over 2 hours long and is all interconnected and tells a story. And you should check it out. And it's unbelievable. It's incredible. It's amazing. These are, and I'm overselling the goddamn thing. I've literally listened to it 2.5 times. And I say 2.5 times because I listened to it twice. And then the third time I listened, I would fast forward to certain songs that I like. The first hour closes with this amazing instrumental that I actually want a copy of. And I think Jesuit said eventually he's going to release it track by track because people were asking him to do that. So, and look, I'm familiar, David does such amazing musical work when he does the interludes, and also on his own show, you hear him doing fucking amazing musical stuff. So I'm always gobsmacked when I hear people doing things that I can't do, and I have no musical talent whatsoever. And to hear this entire production that Jesuit wrote and enlisted the help of the orchestra, and there's got to be 15 different musical styles they go with here. There's country, there's punk, there's pop. It's just, it's an achievement. And I say that, and also I will tell you this, I'm in it. Okay. I make a guest appearance as Alex Jones, and he made me sound super fucking cool. it's just this weird effect where it's just, there's this music kind of chugging and my rant is over it. And and he wrote it. I didn't make anything up. He wrote that, and I just, I delivered his lines and did the best as I could to be Alex Jones. But I'll tell you what, like whenever I do them, I send them and I go, I don't know if I sound that great. And he's like, no, it's fucking perfect. And then when I listen back to it, what he does with it, he makes me sound fucking really good. And he made me sound like Alex Jones, which was wild. Now, and I will tell you this, the guy who plays the main character in the entire story, he should be Alex Jones, because this dude actually sounds like Alex Jones when he's talking. And I'm like, that guy could be the Alex Jones. But I guess he probably wanted to get a different voice in the mix because this dude is, he's all over the goddamn thing. So you can't have him doing multiple parts. But boy, oh boy, he really sounds like Alex Jones. But it doesn't matter because, dude, I did an Alex Jones rant that was written for me by Jesuit. And it just it sounds so cool with the fucking music you put behind me. And you should check it out. It's really good. So it's the Paranoid Strain Musical 9116. It's a rock opera. It's available wherever you get your finer podcasts. Spotify, like I said, he's doing heavy work on Spotify. And I can't thank him enough because he's written me, and I've told you this before. I've written him and gone, hey man, I'm embarrassed by what's going on, but I'm trying to dig out, and he's been crazy understanding because he's my friend above all. And that's, I love him, and he's just been good to me. So thank you, Jesuit. You know that. You're hearing it. And he just texted. He's like, when's your flight? And I'm like, I sent him a picture of the blue lines, and I go, the show's done. I'm just about to do plugs. And he's like, all right, cool. And he's still texting me, which I don't know why he is. I just told him I'm doing the fucking plugs. Put your phone down, God damn it. Hey, I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. There's Never Not Funny. There's Doug Loves Movies. There's the Todd Glass Show. There's No Fun with Jen Kirkman and Anxiety Bites with Jen Kirkman. And Let Me Watch Your Movie with You with Jonah Ray and me. Hi. That's the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. Did you know I'm on Cameo? Well, I am. God damn it. You can get me on Cameo. I don't think you'd want to. Why do you want to hire me? I haven't done anything for a month, but I'm out there if you want to find me. Bookcameo.com or put the Cameo app on your phone and look me up. Look at me. I'm embarrassed to even tell you to send me money. I mean, but what the hell? I got a tax bill to pay, so I'll plunge right in. There's if you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, there's a little PayPal button up in the upper right-hand corner. It says donate. It's a little horn boy, and you can send me money that way, or you can become a patron at Patreon. Thank you to everybody who's done that. I do appreciate it very much. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. I've given you no reason to remain Patreon patrons, but you still do, and it's amazing to me. Thank you for anybody who stuck around. And the people who left, I understand. I wish you didn't, and I wish I didn't put you in that position, but thank you for the support you gave me for as long as you did. Super cool. I appreciate it. Patreon.com/Mike40YOB. That exists. Go ahead and check it out. Why am I hustling? Because it's 7:00 a.m. and I have a cab coming at 8, and I still have to shower. God damn it. I have channels that you can check out. YouTube.com/The40Year-Old Boy. That's the YouTube channel. And that's got all the archives for the podcast. And then Twitch.tv/The40Year-Old Boy. And that's me broadcasting all the time. Now, I am out of town this week, so you won't be seeing me on there. But I will tell you that you can check me out virtually any other time. And if you go there now, you can watch older broadcasts of me shooting people in the face with shotguns as a fucking cowboy. That's fun. Don't you want to see me as a cowboy? I'll tell you this. I want to be a cowboy. And you can be my cowgirl. So there you go. Check me out at twitch.tv/The40Year-Old Boy. Right? Did I say that correctly? Twitch.tv. Where did I lose it? No, it's twitch.tv/The40Year-Old Boy. Again, I haven't done this in a while, but we'll be back next week and we'll do it. Now let's talk about that for a second. I'm in Chicago. By the time you hear this, probably I'll be in Chicago. So I'm in Chicago this week. And I'm performing in Zanies. That's Wednesday, February 2nd through Sunday, February 6th. I am there downtown Chicago Wednesday, downtown Chicago Sunday, Rosemont Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. My brother Lenny is there with me, and he is recording his new album on Saturday. This one is the first song on our new album. It just came out this week, and the song is called Surrender. He is, whatever. So he's recording, and I'm going to be recording audio that night, I think. We'll see what happens. It all depends on what his people do and if they got that set up and they're willing to do it. But come and check us out. And I will tell you this, if you want to buy tickets to see me in Chicago, see me and Lenny in Chicago, or just see Lenny in Chicago, you can come late. use the code Schmidt. Go to buy tickets and use the code Schmidt. You'll save a little dough. I feel safe releasing that now because Lenny's like, don't tell people until, it gets close to showtime. Well, it's close to showtime. So if you're in Chicago, you want to come to any of the shows, downtown Zanies on Wednesday, Rosemont Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then downtown again on Sunday. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know what it's going to be like because, I haven't been on stage since July, and I did well then, and I was really excited. And remember, I came home all excited. I'm like, let's go, man. Here we go. Let's do comedy. And then I shut those blinds and hid. So hopefully this week gives me a launching pad. Again, it's February 1st. Let's reboot, man. It's the first of the month, just like we're going to reboot on January 1st. Remember that? And also December 1st. Oh, wasn't that good? July 1st. I got a lot of fucking landmark dates for rebootings, but let's call this February 1st. Let's have some hope. Let's make this happen, shall we? I think we should. So go check me out. I'll be in Chicago this week at Zanies. Tuesday. No, I'm flying Tuesday. I'm on there Wednesday, Sunday downtown, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Rosemont. Check it out. I want to say a special thank you to a couple of guys. My good friend John Conway, who has reached out to me in the past, and he sent me a... You know how people like stitch things, like they make a throw pillow or whatever the fuck? He just sent me a thing and it just says, what he wrote me, it says nostalgia and pussy make the world go around, which I have said on the show. Nostalgia and pussy rule the world. And he made me an actual throw cloth with it on there. It doesn't say pussy. It has a picture of a cat. Cause I'm assuming they wouldn't do it at the booth. Like when I tried to get fuck chick hoop on a hat and they wouldn't do that. Those dicks. Yeah, so amazing. Thank you, John. You're so nice to think of me and so nice to send that along. And I want to talk about our friend Steve Warren. Stephen Warren, I guess is his full name. I got a package in the mail. Open it up, and it's a book. And I'm like, who sent me a book? And it's David Sedaris, Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. Now, I love Me Talk Pretty one day. I think David Sedaris is fucking hysterical, right? I don't know if I've talked about him on the show, but I enjoy his work. And so I get this book, and then I'm like, who would send me a book? And then I open it up, and there's a note in it, and it says, Mike, I don't know where you're at with David Sedaris, but the dude was right next to me, so I had him sign this book to you. Thanks for another year of giving voice to my frustrations and validating my illogical hopes. Destroy all monsters, Stephen Warren. Amazing that he would give me this nice note and get me a book, but he also had him sign the book, and it says, to Mike, I care, I guess, David Sedaris. And again, I am fried these days. Any act of kindness is enough to turn me into a goddamn puddle, and this did. Stephen, you're amazing to think of me, and then again with the you care, everybody cares, to play into that and have him sign. I can't tell you enough how much it means to me for you to think of me and send me that book. So Stephen, thank you. I'm going to look forward to reading it. I'm so happy for the note and the fact that you would even think of me. And again, I closed the Christmas show when I was like, Luna sent me the box that had the amazing patterns burned into it of the Twitch stuff. And I was like, she's listening. Someone is listening to what I say. And then I went and hit again for a month because I got to be honest, it's a real struggle for me, and I'm fighting. I am fighting. I know it doesn't sound like I am, but I am. And then to get this book is another joy, another gift from someone to know that they're thinking of me, and to get the thing from John. He's listening to me. These are my words. And I have to keep telling myself that you're listening and you care, and I will do my best. And you don't need to hear me pep talk myself. I apologize. I don't mean to be that guy, but thank you to all of you who have reached out, who texted, who sent notes. I haven't answered. Sometimes some of them I haven't read, because if I read them, then I have to answer them, and I feel terrible because I don't have an answer for you. It's amazing, and really, I can't tell you enough how much you mean to me. You know this. So John and Stephen, thank you for thinking of me. Everybody who's texted me, everybody who's reached out. We're going to do our best to be on a regular pattern. Talk is cheap. Just make it work. And I'm off to Chicago, and I have no, this is funny. There's a fucking snowstorm coming to Chicago. Like starting today, it's going to be raining all day, but then tomorrow, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow. And it could be 2 feet over the course of 3 days. And I mean, I have to drive downtown from fucking Naperville. Like, dudes, and also, dudes, I don't have a fucking coat. Like, it's not even about driving in this weather. I don't have a fucking coat. So I'm going to have to be, I guess I'll wear a hoodie. I don't fucking know, man. And my blood went thin anyway from moving to fucking LA. So even if it's like fucking 30 degrees, I'm like, man, it's cold, but that's okay. It's only a week. But snow? Dudes, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in the snow. I'm sure there'll be some story about I wrapped the fucking car around a guardrail. I hope not, man. I fucking hope not. But that's what I'll do. And because again, I'm expecting that. It's a weird thing to be like that now where I'm expecting those sorts of things to happen. And I was never like that. I've never been this gun shy dude. It's strange. I can't explain it. What the fuck was that? Holy shit. I moved something. All right. I got to tell you what that was. I have a button that was given to me by a guy named Ruben for the Twitch channel. And it's just a button that says Australian phrases if you press it.
G'day, mate.
And I accidentally pressed it now as I was moving a pad of paper. I was like, all right, I have the book, The Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim, with 2 pads of paper, and I went to stack them, but it looked like it was going to fall off, so when I shifted it, it hit the button. No, oh my God, now I'm a morning zoo. Holy fuck. That was terrible. I can't believe that happened. Dudes, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a story here. This will show you what kind of a basket case I've been. Maybe this will give you some insight. I went to a Jack in the Box, which alone, that alone should be a flag, a red flag. But I went to a Jack in the Box, right? And I go to the drive-thru and I order a couple of breakfast things, whatever the fuck. I get a coupon. And I pull up to the window and the woman opens the window and she's like, $9.87. And I knew because she had told me on the speaker in the back. So I was ready. And I had a 10. And then I was fishing out some change. And I go, here you go. And I handed her 12 cents. And then I handed her a $10 bill. And she looked at me. And I looked at her. I go, thanks. She goes, she hasn't given me my food yet. And she just kind of stared at me. And she's like, okay. And then she goes to the register and she pushes the buttons or whatever. And then she gives me back my 12 cents and then hands me 13 cents. I go, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I don't know why you're giving me money. You gave me a $10 bill. I go, yes, but I gave you 12 because it was $9.87. She goes, yeah, but $10 covers it. I go, I know, but I don't want 3 pennies. I don't want a dime and 3 pennies. I want a quarter. So that's why I gave you, this money back. I gave you 12 because my change was going to be 13. So 25, I would get a quarter. And I'm not kidding. She looked at me for like 5 seconds, just quiet, silent. Just closes the window right in my face. Just closes the window. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like what? And just straight face and just walked away. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I wait and there's guys behind me waiting to get their food. And, I reached out and I, cause I felt terrible. Like I wasn't trying to humiliate her or be mean. I just wanted a fucking quarter. It's all I wanted. And I know in these, I try to be kind to service people because I know all the shit with COVID and everything is bad and people yell at those people all the time. I've worked in those jobs. It's fucking exhausting and frustrating, but I didn't do anything. So I felt bad and I'm in a position now where I feel bad anyway and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings about anything and I don't want to be, so I'm sitting there and I reached out and knock on the window and she doesn't answer. And so I knock again. And she comes over and she opens the window. She goes, yes? And I go, are you mad at me? And she looks at me and she goes, sir, you're holding up the line. I go, I know, but are you mad at me? Like, why would you be mad that I gave you change? I just wanted a quarter. I wasn't trying to make you feel silly. And I'm explaining myself to the woman at the Jack in the Box when I didn't do anything fucking wrong. I gave her change to get a quarter because I didn't want fucking pennies. I didn't do anything. And she didn't even do anything wrong either, I guess, really. It was just a miscommunication, but I felt so bad. And I feel so bad these days about everything all the fucking time that I waited. I knocked on the window twice. And then are you mad at me? Like I'm this shrunken, no confidence fucking husk. I don't know how to explain what I've become. It's fucking crazy. Like I used to walk around cocking the walk and I didn't fucking care. It's big swinging dick. Let's make fun of fucking everything. And I was ready to go. Bing, bing, bing. Fucking ready to fire. And now I'm like meekly asking if the Jack in the Box woman is mad at me because I gave her 12 cents and I drive. And then also then I didn't insist on the quarter. I kept my pennies like a quiet little nebbish and I fucking drove back to my house. The fuck is wrong with me, man? I gotta fucking emerge from this. I gotta fucking, like I said, I gotta be Monarch Schmidt. Climb out of the fucking chrysalis and become the big butterfly again. I gotta fucking spread my fucking wings like Freddie Mercury, the feather who fronts Queen. Let's fucking spread our wings and... come on, man. Let's fucking make it happen. You can do this, I can do it.
If there's anything I like more than me, it's people who like me. I love me, but if you love me, I love you. 'Cause you know why we both love me. How great am I? Let's talk about that for a while. And by a while, I mean forever.
Charlie Doe Podcast.